The Earth is very flat.
What's going on, everybody? It is Monday, September 13th, 2021. Yes, it's already September. Hard to believe, but here it is. How's everybody doing? Good to see everybody in chat. We've got Rune Thorson, Gadget Inspector, Level Seeker, PJ Cruikshank. Whoa, just skipped like 20 people. Hold on here. What is going on with my mouse? I got the settings cranked way up. Brian Shakur, Cleary, page 42. And I heard Brian Leakey's doing pretty good over there from a few people in here. That's cool. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I'll check it out later. Brian's always fun to listen to. Let's see who else we got here. Paul Keeling. What's up, Paul? And Silver Shill. Will Gaston. Hey, Will. Racer XYZ. Anthony Burrows. The XO of RO. And PJ was first. Shout out PJ. What's going on, guys? How you doing tonight? This morning, this afternoon, whatever it is. Wherever you are. We're going to start off talking about the liars who tell us that they've been to the moon and that they've got a little remote control car on Mars. And some of the other lies that they tell, that are very obvious. And I'll show you something. They got caught red-handed over the last few days. Just not that this is anything new or anything, but we'll take a look at it just to make sure everybody is aware of the lying murderers who think that they have some kind of authority over us, which is pretty sad. I suppose they do since they have all the guns, but that's a different story. And we'll just keep an open panel, kind of a chill night. Open discussion, see where the conversation goes. I think Pete Shea's in the house, so you never know where it's going to go when Pete's around. And we'll go from there. How's that sound? Good? All right. Let's go.
What's the old L measurement?
There's a rhyme to the reason, right?
Remember the L measurement?
There's not. There's
Lemonbird just talked about everything being wordplay as I see it.
Well, this is powerful stream of consciousness. His mind has been free to make free associations, some valid, maybe some invalid. So maybe we need to let go of this, rigid mind structure a little bit without going crazy, hopefully, and see what happens, assuming that we don't get demonically possessed or something like that.
Lemon, as soon as you come up with an alternative medium for space that
Thank you, I
meets
think
the objectives that we see, I'm all in. As soon as you show me something evident, then we'll go with it. But at this point, we're not going to. Seems silly.
I could talk about bigger connections, right? So that's K our man distance. Now, if man is in a divided state like Earth, if you get a K and a reverse K, you get a star. And as you look at your keyboard, Shift 8 is an asterisk, and 8 is also the H letter. H is also the 8 letter. So these interconnections being made, and maybe God is giving clues everywhere. God's clues, Lemonbird.
It could be.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's true. But sometimes we do need to pipe down a little bit just in case we're missing the forest for the trees. But I see what you're saying.
Talking about trees, ours darkest.
There are a couple associations we can make, some coincidental, some not so coincidental.
What's up, guys?
We're on our own.
How's it going? We're live. We're on YouTube. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me?
Good. How are you?
Hey.
What's up, Brandon?
Hey.
What's up, Rob? D-Mock, how's it going? We got JJ Chikey, Conrad, D-Mock, Enigma, Face One, Effie Walker, First Incubus, Geo, Gummy Bear, J711, Pete Shea, Jeremy, Left Lane, Mars Mushroom, Mazar, Mike Less, Moon Gazing, Lemon, Rakia Life, Rob on the Level Keen, Roger MC, the Adam Aiken, and the real Bob Dole, and Ugly Tiny Horse. Almost missed you there, Tiny Horse. I wanted to start off by talking about something that involves the corrupt, lying murderers who control much of the mainstream media and the world. And get your guys' thoughts on this. I don't know if you guys caught this over the weekend. Not that there's any, question that these people are liars, but occasionally we're told that we should trust the people in government and the media because they don't always lie, right? Well, let's take a look at an example of who we're being asked to trust on things like, oh, I don't know, the moon landing, having a remote control car on Mars, all that stuff, and what we do with our own bodies now these days. If you'll remember this, a couple of weeks ago, there was kind of a press push about a drone strike that Biden carried out on 2 ISIS-K targets in Kabul. You guys remember this? It was like a day or two after the Kabul airport attacks. And they said, yeah, we drone striked a couple of high profile. Here you can see it right here. A military drone strike Friday killed 2 high profile members of ISIS-K and wounded a third. The first American attack on a terrorist group following a bomb attack at Ahmeds Cousin International Airport, the Pentagon said Saturday. Well, if it comes from the Pentagon, it's got to be the truth, right? Well, sadly, you guys remember this? Is this ringing a bell for anybody?
Yep.
Let's take a look at what we've got here. And see what really happened. Here's another example.
Wait.
Yeah.
Hang on, Brandon. Isn't that the same Pentagon that had an airplane fly into it?
Yes, that's the same
20
Pentagon.
years ago?
Yeah.
But the hole was like the size of a missile.
Yeah. Well, the one that went through the building was,
yeah. Okay. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no
you
problem.
trust the word the Pentagon says.
Yeah, hang on. He has it wrong. The Pentagon, the plane didn't fly into the Pentagon. The Pentagon flied into the plane. That's what Einstein says. Off you go, Brandon.
Good correction there, Pete. New York Times confirms Biden murdered innocent family in Kabul in drone strike. Let's see what really happened here in this ISIS-K guys that were killed and the one injured here. President Joe Biden murdered an innocent family when the U.S. military conducted a righteous strike on August 29th. And I won't read this whole thing to you, but essentially here's what happened. This was a signature strike, if you know what that is. That's when they track the movements via, say, cell phone, GPS, some other thing, and look for patterns and match those patterns up against suspected terrorist targets or locations. And if they see something that raises enough red flags, then they drop a couple bombs on it. Whoever happens to be around. This did come from the New York Times, so I don't have a habit of taking the New York Times at face value, but there's a lot of on the ground reporting that backs this up. So I think this is pretty clear case here. In a late Friday afternoon report, the military official said they did not know the identity of the car's driver when the drone fired, but deemed him suspicious because of how they interpreted his activities on that day, saying that he possibly visited an ISIS safe house and at one point loaded what they thought could be explosives into the car. In reality, they were filling water bottles. They were just a couple of guys who were, in fact, trying to get out of the country through the State Department, who were driving around filling up water bottles, delivering meals to people on the ground there who, I don't know, needy or whatever. And they just bombed a couple of dudes trying to do good on the ground who wanted to get out of the country. So they killed these guys, and here you can see this video.
At 2:35 p.m.,
here they are
pulls out a hose.
With the hose. This is what they thought were bombs. Filling up water bottles. Those are water bottles there. They got it all on tape. They went to the scene of the car. They waited till he pulled up outside his house. and it killed 10, including 7 children in a dense residential neighborhood. Since 2006, this guy had worked as an electrical engineer for a California-based aid and lobbying group. He murdered a U.S. ally and his entire family. A war crime. And they told us that this was a victory of some kind and that they killed terrorists. It's not like this is something new, but I wanted to make sure everybody was aware, in case they hadn't heard about this, that this is what these people that we're asked to trust do. It's not like one place reported this, just the Pentagon. The whole mainstream media repeated that they killed ISIS-K people.
Yeah. Shit.
Yep. 7 children and 2 guys who worked for American companies and were filling up water bottles and delivering meals because they thought that their cell phone and their movements were suspicious. So they just decided to drop a bomb on them. A Hellfire missile.
That's that.
The trigger on that one. Who pushed the button? Go ahead, Grim.
No, I'm down with it. If you got something to say, I was just throwing it out there. That's what they've been trying to push on us, this pre-crime shit, and this is seems like a nice little conditioning exercise.
Yeah, I mean,
how many people are going to say, well, in case they were, though, it's probably fair, even because they could have been. How many assholes are going to say like that?
All right. Who's the man that made it? Okay, go ahead, Grim.
No, I said I'm done. That was what I said.
Oh, all right. Who's the man that made the call on this? I don't think you could pin that on Biden. He's not making he's calling the shots on every fucking missile and bomb and drone strike. That's what I mean. Who I think there's somebody who should be at blame for this, definitely, but I mean, I don't see how you blame Biden for this. He's not deciding every target and shit. That's military.
Oh, I don't care. I don't think it was Biden who was like, yeah, kill this family.
I'm not even sure Biden can read.
Yeah, I think the only thing he worries about is, if he's got an oopsie in his drawers or if he finishes pudding at lunch. That guy isn't in charge of shit.
Shoot. Yeah.
It's a joke. This whole government.
So it's definitely Henry Kissinger still.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Is he still alive?
Real story?
Yeah, he's still killing.
Jesus.
He's alive and killing.
He probably is making moves somehow.
He never wasn't.
Guys like that don't. Yeah, it's not like he's just gonna stop and be like, "Oh, I'm all right, I'm done, guys."
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop at Vietnam War. Yeah.
I would say our default position has to be this fake story, and look further. Look at the names, or look at the times given. Look at the. Hang on, though. I'm just saying this is presented to us as a story. We can.
No, I mean I got a phone call. Sorry.
We can enter it as if it's true to begin with, and then take it from there and follow down the pathway that they lead us in. But if we just, as a default position, auto hoax, IPS, right? But if we further that, look at some of the names, look at some of the times, dates, look at some of the locations given. Is there any clues within that to suggest? The story itself seems ridiculous, Brandon.
No, listen, I'm an auto hoaxer too, Pete. I hear you there, but there's a lot of on the ground reporting behind this one, and they've already acknowledged that they do these signature strikes.
I'm not
these
saying
things have
that,
happened over and over again.
Everything about your government, they're being made to look worse and worse, right?
I feel like that's a bad way to hit people off. Just to like Grim was saying, this is like pre-crime shit. You can't just fucking start dropping missiles and drone strikes and shit on people for this. Dude,
if they can justify doing it over there, what's to make you think that they won't justify doing it in downtown fucking Chicago? I mean, what's the difference? Oh, we've been tracking drug dealers and we're going to drop a fucking bomb. The only reason they don't do it is because they know that they would have an outcry on their hands. They do it over there. It's not going to touch their power base. It's not going to touch, impact their political power. Just kill innocent civilians. They would do it here if they could. If they thought they would get away with it. Maybe they do already. Who fucking knows?
They might have those little bumblebee drones.
Didn't they do it with the Boston Bombers? Didn't they do it with the Boston Bombers, where they shut down the whole town and told everyone to stay indoors, and eventually they shot up a boat and killed one of them and injured another one?
Yeah,
They claim their
supposedly.
innocence. Already,
Yeah, that whole story is highly suspect. But it's possible.
As this one seems to be, Brandon.
I don't know.
Is there any
This
visual
one,
evidence for all of this?
no, yeah, there is visual evidence. Yeah. They got
Graphic,
videos of
is
them
it
filling up the
believable?
water bottles. They got they got photos of the car hit by the thing. They got pictures of the kids. They got a guy on the ground talking to relatives. If this is a hoax, it's one of the most well done ones that I've ever seen. I wouldn't bring this up if I thought there was any chance. And this, the sources aren't that great. Obviously, as we're talking about the same sources I'd never trust in the first, NBC News and fucking New York Times. So they probably do have an agenda of some kind. But I mean, don't kid yourself. This isn't the first time this has happened. This goes on continually, where we bomb a wedding and kill people on their fucking wedding day or whatever, or just.
Have you personal experience with that, man?
I haven't seen our side do it, but I have. I have been to fresh bombs.
You ain't seen New.
Yeah, I heard stories.
We hit them New Jack City style.
I saw the holes in the buildings. When I was
you
over
were
there,
you were at the Pentagon on 9/11, were you?
I was there. Yeah, I'm the guy who collected all the videotapes and said, "No, we're not releasing it." Well, let me read this last part. Yeah, it is. The whole world's insane. That day, Ahmed's cousin, Zamari Ahmed, 38, had just pulled up at home from work with his 13-year-old son, Farzad, his youngest of 3, racing to greet him. Other reporters have said Farzad was whatever. He's either 12 or 13. Farzad, who had just learned to drive, wanted to park his father's car, so he let him. And some of the other family members gathered around. It was at that moment an explosion tore through the vehicle, killing Zamari, Farzad, those are the 2 guys who were going around filling up the water bottles, and 8 other family members. And now this was reported by New York Times and Washington Post. Those guys are allies of the administration, so I'm not sure why they would be putting out this damning story. It doesn't make any sense, but here it is. Did anybody see this on the news over the weekend or hear about this in other places?
Me.
Huh? No? No. Yeah, and then they go through all the people, and here's the car. You can see it exploded here. Obviously, just a residential neighborhood. There's the damaged car. Yeah, here's the people and their loved one in the casket. Yeah. So filling up water bottles. See, there's all this reporting on the ground here too. Anyway, I thought I'd show this to you guys in case no one had seen it. These are the people who tell us to trust science. Do what we tell you to do. It's for the good of the country. It's for your own good, right? We're not lying to you. Somebody's lying. I guess that's a decision everybody has to make for themselves. Which liars they want to trust, huh? Or if they want to trust any.
If true, that's a horror story, but I mean, there's so many horror stories that have come out about America, and not just present times, historical times. We meant to hate them, or we've been led to hate America and what it stands for, I wonder.
Maybe this is all part of the master plan.
Is this the end of America?
Brandon? Like everybody wants to pretend like they're special, like they're somebody. I mean, since the dawn of time, everyone wanted to be significant. Everybody wants to be popular. Everybody wants to be liked. So when it happens to them, oh my gosh, the world is going to end. They're doing it to us. It's, why us? They've been, we caught them right now in the biggest conspiracy. This isn't the first time they do this type of evil shit.
Right.
Right.
That's a great point, because we've had this mindset in the United States that, yeah, we're special, right? The city on the hill, all that shit. That we're some unique and people in this country, many people have this mindset that these things won't happen to us. They see this happening. They see us doing this to other countries. And somehow they justify it in their head as, oh yeah, those people deserve it for some reason. Or they just ignore it. It's not affecting their lives. It can't happen here, right? It can happen here. And let me tell you something. If this shit comes home to roost back in this country, if this country falls, but eventually it will, right? When it does,
It's happening.
when it does, no one is going to feel sorry for us. Nobody.
And it's all by design, too.
Look at some of the other countries that have fallen. Like nobody.
I
It's
feel
like-
sorry for you, Brandon, because you've done nothing. The vast majority of Americans are decent people.
Dude. Talking.
I know.
You totally interrupted me mid-sentence.
Off you go. Sorry, man. Sorry.
Wow.
All right. No,
I'm
I'm just
these
saying.
days.
I mean, like it's the same thing. Like if we're special, but what if they want America to fail? Who knows? Who the people that control this world? What if they want somebody else to be the breadwinner? I don't know. I'm just saying it. I mean,
They have
there's
it
other
now.
countries out there failing,
Yeah.
and nobody like Italy or say like some of Europe. Or, I mean,
They're
some
failing
parts
on
of-
purpose for the new template. There's a new template coming out.
Yeah.
They're failing them all on purpose.
hey, like
They,
for some,
they run
I
them
know
all
a
through
lot.
proxy, so they fail them all through proxy intentionally, so that when they give you your solution, which they're already prepared for, you'll accept it, and it'll be almost your idea, because it'll be a Hegel's dialectic. There won't be any other choices to actually make, and you'll make the choice that they've provided. Not you particularly, but the general public.
Right. Oh yeah, they've got a
Get ready for your
plan.
Klaus Schwab's in the middle.
Oh God.
Get ready, guys. It's not a joke. I mean, they laughed at us about all of this, all the way up until here it is.
Well,
Well, I almost want to say, you know what? Fuck you guys, because
Okay.
not you guys, but I'm saying, the general public, because I've been wasting my goddamn breath on y'all, and you're taking my life, my energy and shit constantly with this. But then
Nothing's
again,
for
there's the
nothing,
other
Graham.
part. Yeah, I know. There's the other side of it.
Nothing's for
People
nothing. We
get
don't
too
know the
rude.
outcome yet, Graham.
People in here, like the flat earthers. What does it say about the end times? Like, is there any correlation with what's going on, like in these modern times?
Let me
What the Bible says.
let me jump in. Let me jump in briefly then, Sovereign, because I'm just about to post the picture in general chat. Brandon, you might post it if you want. It's okay if you don't. But I have this idea that, well, first of all, we've heard that the American Empire is just a sort of an extension of the British Empire, possibly faked their death way back then. Now, we know about the Washington, D.C. riots at the beginning of the year here. In a sense, can we view it as the death of an empire, not just the American Empire, which is an extension of the British Empire? Britain is also, after undergoing Brexit, so which is a removal from the greater EU, or not necessarily UN. Now, throughout the Corona as well, the Vatican has been pretty much shut down, if you view it in terms of all the churches shut down throughout the the pandemic. Now, so my thinking is, so the old powers, we know that Washington, D.C., the Square Mile in London, Vatican, all sovereign states, if they're being closed down, has there been a different power, which is what Grim talked about? I say yes. Well, all countries now are signed up to the UN, United Nations, and what is their logo? What is their emblem? I just posted it in chat there, but you recognize the orientation in the way it's presented. This is now a new emblem of all of us, all countries on earth. That's what I say. So entered into a new age indeed. Whether there'll be freedom in this, I say there will be ultimate freedom. The old ways have to go, but now we're in the midst of this transformation or transition. You don't have to post that if you like. If you don't want to, Brandon, by the way.
I'll bring your dodo up.
Back to the question, like, there any correlation with what's going on nowadays? And has it happened before? And why is this one different? Like, I'm sure all you guys think the world's going to end, right? Like, in the next year or two?
No.
Well, you guys, what do you think?
I just realized where you're coming from, though.
Yeah, he's you guys.
You showed your hand, bro.
What do you mean, showed my hand?
Sovereign container. I bet you're going to call all us guys old fools who are sovereign citizens as well, something like that.
Do you think the world's going to end? Do you think? What do you think?
No, I don't think the world's going to end. I don't think we're that fucking special, man. I think we're selfish. And it just everybody wants to take selfies and look at me. But this shit happens to everybody. Nobody's special. Your country's not special. And just because it's America doesn't mean you're number one and fuck everybody else. So
nobody's special, you mean? You extend that to everybody earthwide?
And just because you've been telling people this whole time doesn't mean like America can't fail. I mean, will they let it fail? I don't know. Can they stop it? Yeah, but do they want it? I don't know. It doesn't mean that. I mean, okay, when I go to Nathan's server, they talk a lot. There's a lot of Bible thumpers in there. They talk a lot about the end times and the 4 horsemen and all that bullshit. Like, it's never happened like before. And even if it was prophesied, somebody could say, hey, you know what? I want to enact that. I want to
who does this say that playing out the fucking role? Yeah, intentionally, on purpose.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we've always been saying. It's not a prophecy, it's a game plan.
Well, the same people who are carrying out
the
Bible. What about that?
Yeah, but why is this society different? Because, I mean, why is this era any different? I mean, everybody's always
we have the internet, bud. Yeah, but we have the internet now. We can find out
this era is a lot different.
Unavailable to generations in the past.
Look, remember it says the
more people can be told the same thing in a faster period of time all at once, and they can all believe a lie overnight now because of the internet. It used to take quite a while to get them all to believe the same thing. Yeah.
How many
ultimate capabilities of seeing through it, though, right?
How many times has the moon turned black as sackcloth? I mean, probably about since they wrote that, maybe about 1,000 times, 1,500 times, or isn't there like 2 a year or 2 every 4 years? Some bullshit. There's been hundreds, man. How many times has there been diseases? Many, many times there's been pestilence. How many times has there been?
I think you're sublimating an argument in here that I don't think anybody in here is saying though. Like it's just like a sublimation. Like none of us are even considering that as rational, you know. Not that I know of. I'm not speaking for everyone, but I mean that just doesn't seem rational to think that a fucking new moon is the end times or some cyclical event is obviously the end of the world or something like that. I mean,
well, it does say that in the Bible.
Cyclical. Yeah, but I'm not a Bible guy.
There's a lot of us that aren't Bible guys. We're not as a group. We're not a homogenous group here by any means at all. Yeah, we're not even a group. We're just a bunch of people who hang out together.
Right. Because I'm a baller.
But you're a sovereign container.
In a way.
So
yeah, I'm
a certain flavor of what.
I actually think that this is a distinction point. You think that no life matters on Earth, sovereign container. I actually think that all life matters on Earth. We are the true power.
Let's go ahead and discuss that.
Are we the true power, Pete? I mean, I suppose so, but I think the problem is the mass communication is a double-edged sword. And people's ignorance and apathy is so hard to overcome.
Yeah, but you can't. There's no convincing anyone at the end of the day. You have to first of all convince yourself. The truth is already written.
It kind
God
of is, though, right?
God is already
Well,
expressed.
what Brandon is trying to say is that like it's not so much in the grasp of most population to how they feel. It's the fact that population is being treated so fucking bad by the fucking masses and by these fucking decisions made outside of
We're not treated that bad, dude. We
people's
haven't fucking
shit,
been anywhere.
which is causing us to rebel in certain ways.
Is that what
All
Brandon's trying to say?
nowadays are big pussies. Like my
Like,
son.
humanity wouldn't have had this type of fucking reaction to the fucking vaccines and shit if it was presented in a slightly better way. It's
Anybody that's 25 and under is a giant pussy.
I'm not sure that's what Brandon's trying to say, just for the record.
Yeah.
America
I'm pretty sure it is. Brandon, do you think,
America-
Brandon, that
We're almost
if
clearly part of
if
it,
these
it's not.
vaccines were presented in a better way, that people will be more open to take them? Like,
Well, I think if that the people that were telling us that we should, you know, do these things, take these actions to overcome this difficulty weren't known, renowned, perpetual liars, yeah, they probably
And
wouldn't get
criminals.
so much pushback. And criminals, yeah.
No fucker would take their vaccine.
right, it's the fact that we don't have a trust in our fucking leaders, which is why we have this.
Look, how can you guys sit here and
This whole
fucking
the whole problem is just about
America
trust.
is so bad,
It's
and that
not
this-
about. It's not about the whole fucking vaccine shit. Is not about what fucking chemicals are in the vaccine and shit. It's about trust within our fucking.
I think you have 2 time wasters.
I'm just saying, man. It's all about
Insulin for people with diabetes. Why is that shit so expensive if they care about people?
Oh, hold up,
You
guys.
have a
We've been stepping over
choice.
Righteous
GG.
for quite a while. Hey, Righteous, your mic is.
Brandon?
I think that's your name.
Brandon, everybody's roboting.
Um,
Everybody's roboting, Brandon.
they're not roboting for me. Who are
Not
they roboting?
everyone.
Okay, not everyone is roboting, but a bunch of people are roboting.
Samuel
I was just
is
gonna say,
I don't hear
why
anybody
is
roboting
insulin
though,
such a
Rob.
problem? All right. Am I coming through?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think you're coming through pretty clearly, but you were roboting a little bit. Maybe it was like, you know, on your end.
Samuel
Just,
robot.
sometimes just check up in your the top and look for the your signal connection strength right there.
I hear that if you like touch your finger to your
I
nose,
just wanted to say, like,
put your left finger to your nose or right finger to your ear. It's supposed to help.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on, guys. Let's let Sovereign's been trying to get in there for a minute. Sovereign, go ahead. Your mic's a little low. Just so you know.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm just saying, man. I mean, a lot of the conspiracy theorists like to complain and say, "Oh wow, look at all these problems. Look at how bad it is." But come on, man. If you live in America, you know it's so good here. Like we have every amenity imaginable.
Right?
We don't even have to fucking walk outside to like fill our bellies. I mean,
yeah, we do have the poor in America, but they don't even have it that bad.
Yeah, on a global scale, when you look at it from that perspective, of course. I'm not going to disagree with you. I have a pretty good life.
The poor in America actually has it pretty good compared to the.
How many people died of starvation in the U.S. last year? It's going to be a lot larger number than you thought when you figure this out.
No, Grimby, you know what? That thing you just said right there about starvation, that's actually a point to make, that how well we actually have it, bro. We don't have
look at the number
starvation
before you
no, okay. You tell me about the fucking number then.
I mean,
don't
just saying, look at the number.
Tell me what the fuck the number is.
I saw it the other day. It was very high, way higher than I
It
would
was
have
very
imagined.
high. You actually don't have a clue, do you?
Come on, bro.
Righteous, I want to respond to what you said though. Okay, yes, we have it good. We have enough food. We have a bunch of crap we can buy from the store. The streets are pretty clean in a lot of areas, that kind of thing, right? We still have problems, and just because we have it good, does that mean we should tolerate lying, murdering thieves running the country? Or we should bend on our morals? We should allow our country to bomb little children in our name?
No, absolutely. I mean,
Okay,
the
he was
Constitution was made for us, right, a long time ago, and there's a certain amount of respect we got to give to the Constitution, and we should live by that, right? Now, those laws are put there for our good, the people's good.
Yeah.
Not the fucking governing states good, right? And they're specifically put there to prevent the governing states from fucking up the people.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Righteous.
All right, man. Here it is. COVID, even if it was a conspiracy or not, I'm not too sure. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But it's over, man. It's done. It's done and dusted, man. They're working on if they plan the COVID thing, it's finished. Now they'll perpetuate it and milk it for all it's worth, and then they're working on their next conspiracy theory while we're still complaining about COVID. And look, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember 9/11. That was pretty fucking weird. And everybody got over it in about a few years. 2 or 3 years, it was like over with. The same thing's going to happen with COVID. And you know what?
How old were you when that happened?
I was 18.
Oh, you think guys are just over it?
Huh?
I say you think people are just over it?
Over 9/11? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fucking
Oh,
long
really?
time.
All the people that died, all the people's families that lost their loved ones. You think they're over it?
I'm talking about the 300 million as a whole. Everybody forgot. For a couple months there, everybody was flying bags.
It's like wishful thinking from a government employee. Where'd you say you worked again?
What? You're asking me what word?
Is he really wrong though? Like, I get where you guys are coming from. I mean, the impacts from that go on forever, especially for someone like Jeremy, where he's in New York and
COVID is over. They're working on the next fucking thing if they even did it. Right?
Yeah, but what's your point? What are you trying to say? Should we be focusing on the next thing, or should we just not complain about their bullshit that they do, or what do you suggest?
You guys are too late, man.
I think you should just stop complaining and do our own shit.
Yeah, don't learn from the past.
I mean, seriously. I mean, we can.
What do you mean? That's how we learn.
We
It's
want.
literally how you learn.
But
Yeah, I know.
no.
I don't see anybody changing anything. Look at the.
If you look at any type of revolution, it was always done by saying, fuck this, and let's do our own thing.
Well, I agree with that. But it sounds like Righteous is kind of saying, fucking, they're gonna do what they want to do, so we might as well just stop complaining and go along with their totalitarianism.
You basically you run with it or you revolt, and that's literally the only choices you have, bro.
Just say no. Don't fucking give them consent. Just tell them no. That's
revoting.
It would come to it eventually. You're right. But if enough people tell them no, then there's power in numbers, right? Of course, like I said, there's a lot of apathy and ignorance. And just youth, right? That's another problem. We send most of our children to these schools for 20 years to be taught by the government. And then you got to overcome all that programming that they went through, unless you have a very bright child who understands what's going on, or you have the time and patience to show them and they somehow catch on that the world is corrupt.
It's a perspective thing, though, right? I don't think that everything taught in school is fucking bullshit.
I didn't say everything. I didn't say everything. I didn't say that. Not everything in school is bullshit. But these are the people. You do get programmed in school to think a certain way about historical events, the world, etc. Do you not?
There are no question,
Definitely, dude.
They are teaching you things. Branch. They are no question teaching you things as these things are brought forward as if they are facts, and they're not. No question.
What do you mean, Jeremy? Like what things?
The cardboard cutout. I'm gonna give you an example right now. The cardboard cutout of the Earth, where they have the crust, the mantle, the inner core, outer core, all that. That's not a fact. That's a guess. But they teach you and make you learn it like it's fact.
Yeah, you see,
Fact.
You see, me as a global,
You have no
me as a global, bro.
Me.
I would actually hate if my kids weren't taught that.
Yeah, no, Branch. Don't throw me.
That's reality, bro.
Yeah. Let me read these super chats from the YouTube audience here. Will Gaston, $5. And no one could buy or sell anything without the mark, which was either the name of the beast or the number. Revelation 13:17 from Will Gaston. Thank you very much, Will. And been a lot of speculation about what that could mean. I don't know myself, but interesting thought, Will. Taking Back Eden FE, $5. Who ended slavery in the 1800s? The Bible thumpers or the atheists, agnostics, Muslims, Hindus, etc.? Yeah, we gotta think. I think we got to be careful when we're. Sometimes it comes off as bashing Bible thumpers. If anything I say comes off like that, I don't mean it to, because I do have respect for religious people. I'm not that religious myself. Although I do believe in good and evil, but it is what it is. Thank you very much, FE. Religion has done a lot of good in the world. All groups, I think, have done a lot of good in the world and have some bad in it too. It's kind of a general statement, but no group is either all good or all bad.
Yeah, if you just go off the 10 Commandments, like that's a good way to live, right? Don't kill, don't steal, all that.
Yeah,
all that good stuff. So,
absolutely.
I mean, as far as that goes, that's fucking great. That's probably done a lot of good. People that believe that, and now they don't, live a little better life, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, none of that's too controversial, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Well, open floor. We can, if anybody has something they want to talk about. I heard Brian Leakey is over on Modern Day Debate right now. I didn't catch any of it before the show. Hopefully he'll stop by here after he gets done with his debate and tells us how it went.
So, man, I like that dude. Like, I would actually say, like, it's amazing. He's probably like one of the most successful flat earthers out there, And he didn't try hard. He didn't make a big deal about trying to get views and nothing like that. He just did his shit. Stayed fucking mellow.
Good. I mean,
and just he ran his fucking. He just did what he did, and you gotta appreciate.
Brian's good. I mean, Brian's in one of QE's numpty clips. When you made it into there, you breached the pinnacle.
I mean, it's not even that, bro. It's like seriously, man. It's like you go all these other cunts and like they have an agenda and shit. Like I like Leakey because he's never really had an agenda other than just being himself and. He's literally just being himself the whole time.
And he's full of energy, man.
He is.
You come up with an idea for an experiment, he's looking around him for shit to try it on. Now, some of them are very rough, but
the
he has more energy than anybody I know.
Younger. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck did he looks 20 years younger than he did 20 years ago? That's some
Yeah,
shit.
he's a grandpa.
Leaky's awesome. We did it. He does experiments and after shows sometimes. Like one night we did an experiment. He's good. He killed him on that dinosaur, the soft tissue in the dinosaur thing. He's good, no question.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I heard in chat that it's going pretty good, so we'll see.
Who's he debating?
What's his name? Shit, I forgot his name.
Leaky.
You should have made Brian the other guy give him permission to stream it on his channel.
I guess he gave us several shout outs, so that's cool.
Oh, nice. There wasn't a lot of people on the server today. A little bit. We get people talking here 24/7. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
come on in, and even if you just want to listen, just come listen.
It's only 4 o'clock. You guys acting like the show is over, and the show about to just start.
We're in the show, Branches. It's a live show right now.
Oh, I thought the show was like you guys are fucking.
We usually say that joking around, but
start or be over. Like the fuck.
I got one. I guess a funny thing that happened in the after hours last night. They were talking about that GIF with distances and directions only matching a spherical shaped conceptual idea. So I think it was Jeremy who said like, well, how would you verify, or Geo, I can't remember, but basically they said, how would you verify these data? Can I use Google Earth? So I was like, sure, let's see, can you recreate that meme, that GIF in Google Earth? And the first thing Meatball did was he showed a line from New York to Cape Town, and he drew the line 3 kilometers longer, like 12,555, or 3 kilometers.
You talking about that GIF?
So
I'm always
why
talking
did you
about.
make it longer? Why'd you add an extra 3 kilometers? I go, you could just draw a line between those 2 cities and then stop to match the GIF. And that caused a thermonuclear meltdown from PNS. He said it was within the tolerance. It was all these excuses. He just flipped out.
I mean, honestly, 3 kilometers. You could start at one end side of New York City, another side of Cape Town, and you'd probably have even more to play with.
Yeah, I mean, just draw it to match the GIF. Like you take a line, you click with the mouse, you drag the line towards the direction of New York or Cape Town, and then you stop when they tell you this line equals 12,552. You don't go 3 more kilometers and then hit the print key. So I was like, it's like saying, hey, I like count to 10. And you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
exactly
10.2.
Like I would say at least 9.
Yeah, why if you're gonna count, if you're gonna like, why add? He goes, oh, it's close enough. So finally, he just kept saying I'm an idiot. I go, sure, you're on top of Mount High. You've convinced the whole world that Crit's an idiot. Okay, now one person left that doesn't understand. Grant, dude, I'm almost done, dude. Relax. So then he says, that's all I needed to. I said, now are you ready to come back to have a conversation about recreating this GIF in Google Earth? He said, no, I've proved my point, and then he logged out.
I was gonna say, bro, nobody ever convinced anybody you was an idiot. No one.
Even if I hand wave it, I'm like, sure, just go with it. I'm stupid. Right. I'm dumb.
Right. Like nobody did that. Like, you said people wave and shit. Like nobody, even outside of the waves and crap, like you was never proven to be an idiot.
No, I'm saying if I give you that, say if your claim is it built into your model that I'm an idiot, sure, for the purposes of this
conversation. But that's a pretty fucked up model to have. Like, say if I had a model and within the model I built in, within my model, Chris an idiot. That's a pretty fucked up model, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is, especially when I finally give you that.
True that.
They decide that that's the end of the conversation.
All right.
So did they ever get the lines on the Google Earth to match the GIF? You're talking about the GIF with the
No,
five.
they stopped. Yeah, the 5 points that
Yeah.
with the air flight or something like that, or straight line
Right.
air flight.
Right.
So I was like, sure, let's see if you can recreate it using those numbers and get all the lines to match up. Because I said they probably won't, because you'll have to fudge it and keep playing around with it to get to work. It's not like you'll just be able to draw lines and they would all point and make I said it won't match. So what you're doing here is you've got 2 different globes now.
Well, that's
And then
interesting.
they wanted to say, well, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it was a good idea. Asking them to do that. I'd be interested in seeing that.
Yeah, they just wouldn't play ball because like they just wanted to draw any line they wanted. They didn't want to follow the information or the data inside the GIF. They wanted to like have a fudged amount that they could play with. They'd be like, well, yeah, well, New York to Cape Town can be any number, really. I mean, can you even draw that shape on Google Earth? They wouldn't even do that. And finally,
Yeah.
Mole Man came in to save the day and actually drew the line that equaled the GIF. But then that's where he said, "That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to draw any more lines."
Oh, so he didn't match them up. He didn't make the.
No,
shape?
he just showed that it is possible to draw that distance on Google Earth, even though after PNS said it wasn't possible. It wasn't possible to just click your mouse and drag a line across the screen until it tells you what number and then stop.
Huh.
He said it's not possible. You have to go 3 more kilometers. And then actually Chaiki said too that each movement of the mouse would be like 1 kilometer. You can get it that close.
Okay.
Like say each click or each move was like 5 kilometers. You couldn't do it. You couldn't get the exact figure, the number, because it was 12,552. So you either have to pick 5,550 or 5,555. But you can actually move it to be exactly what the GIF says.
So just so you know the distances, you need to know more than the actual distances because you can only get the area or the perimeter. No, I think it's the area. I don't know. I'm not sure, but you can't get the diagonal line through it.
Hold on, dude.
Unless it's a perfect like rectangular branch. You can't get the distance of the line through it if you know the other 4 distances. Unless it's like a perfect rectangle or square or something.
Yeah, I think it's not about whether you can figure out the 5th line. It's about asking if those 5 lines or those 15 lines, whatever you're drawing, right? If it can be on a flat surface, that's what we're really asking.
Yeah.
Well, you can never tell. But hold on, Crit. That's exactly what it's about is finding the distance of that 3rd line. They're saying it doesn't match. So it's all about finding the distance from New York to Cairo.
I mean, you can look at it like that if you want to, but I mean,
no, that's literally all it's about.
The first thing you got to do, right, is convince people you are not Crit.
That's all it's about, RC, is finding the distance from New York to Cairo and seeing how it doesn't match up on a flat surface, but you would never know the length of that, knowing only the other 4 dimensions.
Yeah, you're not wrong actually about that. That you can't, without making an assertion about what shape the other things are in, you can't really figure out that 5th distance.
You have to know the angles. You have to know the angles.
You have to know the angles.
Well, regards to RC, what point are you trying to make, bro?
Sentence, please. And the idea of knowing angles, for example, is something that I tend to try to shy away from because then we have to start thinking about, all right, how do we represent that? Maps, right? Which you don't have to appeal to maps. You can just say, here are 5 points, the distance.
RC, you're kind of trying to say that Jeremy's point was wrong.
Hold on, RC.
Without actually making a point, my man.
Why am I getting cut off? I'm like literally finishing my sentence. The question.
Go ahead, RC. I got you.
Yeah, between all 5 of those points, what are the distances between all 5 points to the other 4? And
What's the least assumption you have to make, Darcy?
You don't have to make any assumptions about asking, can the distances between all 5 points to the other 4 points?
You're trying to figure out how to go about this properly. So what's the least assumptions you have to make in any calculation?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There are no assumptions to be made other than the distances are correct.
So you can see that this GIF is pure nonsense, and that even if you did know those 4 distances between those cities, you wouldn't tell you anything.
No, what I said is that if you know all 5, if you know have 5 cities, and you know the distances between each city and the other 4 cities, then you know.
The GIF only has 4. Okay, the GIF only has 4 cities. Okay.
Yes.
You can see that this GIF is nonsense and wouldn't tell us anything.
If you add a 5th point, that's really what the crux of not having to use angles and relative position to each other are. Because if you have just a 5th point, then you no longer need to appeal to any angles between those cities. You just have to say, all right, I know a 5th point's distance between the other 4 cities.
Okay, so this GIF is not a good argument. You would agree?
I would say in order for this GIF to be a good argument, you need to add a 5th city. Does the GIF
Which they don't have. They don't have. So is the GIF a bad argument?
If you want to appeal to just distances, then you need a 5th city.
Yeah, you're gonna start calling me the dentist because I'm pulling teeth with these motherfuckers.
No, Jeremy, why don't you learn to take my very precise answer as a precise answer? I know that you want yes or no's, but
so the GIF doesn't tell us anything.
Hey, Jeremy, hold up. If we're gonna have a real discussion, then we need to actually speak with some specificity.
Yeah.
Can you do anything with what you got?
Specifically,
where's Witsit when you need him?
Listen, I'm about to respond to you with specificity. This GIF, the argument in this GIF is not a good argument because all you have is the 4 cities, and just like you have just conceded that you would need the 5th city, which this GIF does not have. So, do you concede this GIF? Makes no argument whatsoever towards the GIF.
I don't have to concede anything because I didn't present this GIF. I don't even know what GIF you're talking about. I think I know what GIF you're talking about, but my argument has always been the distances between 5 cities, and I have posted that like 300 times in here, and so no one has been able to show me these distances between these 5 cities on a flat surface.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, when I said so, right now, I'll say, yep, this is right. It can't be shown on a completely flat surface. So do you now talk about this curved surface that they do work on, or B, continue to talk about flat surfaces? And you said that you would engineer something for the betterment of humanity. So have you done that yet? This was like 3 months ago.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Have you engineered anything yet?
Have I engineered anything?
Yeah. For the betterment of humanity.
Yeah, sure.
Just sure? We can tell us what it is?
We'd love to hear it.
I do a lot of software engineering, and so yeah, like most recently, I created a grade tracker for my school for each students and create an app that they can download personally to their phone and use Clever to verify it. So it's actually a Clever registered app right now, and so they can use their Clever sign-in badges in order to see their grades instantly on their phone without having to sign in to Power School or any other things. And it also gives them a list of assignments. So yeah,
you got us there.
If you want to talk about
you got us there.
Science and computer software engineering, yeah, I engineered something. Is that good enough?
Are you a
for
teacher? Are you a teacher?
Yeah,
I was a teacher for a lot of years. Now I'm in administration.
Yeah, that was used the globe Earth that works with these distances and directions. Like it doesn't work otherwise.
You teach the children. You teach the children spinning ball Earth.
He teaches QE.
I teach kids to do math, and I teach kids how to engineer stuff. I teach them how to program computers. I teach them how to program robots.
You teach them what you think yourself, and as you're
No, I
representing
teach
yourself here.
them how to engineer things, and then they get to think for themselves. And
Anyone ever mentioned flat Earth to you? How did you
oh
respond?
yeah, in fact, I mean, you probably don't know this. I actually, in our physics classes that I supervise, all the teachers who I manage, a lot of them teach physics, and we do a flat Earth unit. Yeah.
Really?
What's the best argument? What's the best argument? What's the best 3 arguments that flat earthers have to offer?
I actually,
do you present those to the children?
What I do is I don't present any of the arguments. I give them about 13 sources of flat Earth arguments, including 200 proofs. I have them watch a number of things from QE. I send them the QE channel, Nathan Oakley's channel, and I say, all right, I want you to summarize the arguments.
Very smart.
I want you to summarize the arguments, and I want you to say, what is the evidence based on what's the empirical evidence based on these arguments? And
have you ever lost any of them to flat Earth due to this component?
He's going to lose it soon.
No, I mean, I have no problem having them look at this, because what's great to see is that 9th graders, they get to critically think about what people are talking about out in the world. And I simply ask them one question, right? What's the argument? What's the evidence that backs up that argument?
Okay.
I think that's great, actually, RC. I think that I commend you for at least putting letting them think for themselves.
So you know what RC's doing. What RC's doing is he's showing a little kid how to shoot hoops and then swatting them down.
1 second, please. Let me ask you a question. Hang on, RC.
And after 4 years of doing this, I have yet to have a kid come up to me in the 9th or the 11th grade and say, "I am now a flat earther."
Okay, well, hang on 1
Jeremy
second.
nailed it. You're like,
1
hey
second,
kids, let's
please.
go
Hang
play
on, hang on.
basketball. You teach them a
Hang on,
layup
please.
and just stand underneath.
Hang on, Conspiracy Santa. So RC, let me ask you a question then. So you present them with all the materials. Obviously, you've sort of went through them yourself and found them.
No,
hang on, please. Hang on, please. Let me get my question out. If I say obviously, maybe it's not obvious. You can correct me later. But to summate everything, what would you say in all your experience is the best 3 arguments that flat earthers could offer in favor of a flat and stationary Earth?
Well, if and when kids really are bored with the subject,
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you.
Yeah, I know. Would you listen for a second?
Okay.
I ask them typically the 3 questions that I hear on 24/7. Right? Is it possible? Like, how do you have gas pressure without a container? Right? I don't say it's a good argument. I simply ask them the question and have them go out. We spend 5 weeks on this unit, and they have to research a response to one of those 3 questions if they don't already find an interesting topic with my original question. And then the second one is, how do you measure the shape of an object? That's the second one. So they have to actually look into what goes into measuring the shape of something. And then the third thing, because the gas pressure without a container is a really interesting one. And then the third one is, and then the second one is really about the radius of the Earth. I typically don't get into any of the other ones because they're kind of like weird and astronomy
So
ones.
once again, I wasn't asking you about what you said to the children. I'm asking you what the 3 best arguments RC might see. I don't care.
No, I think all the arguments are
yeah,
like they're all crap.
That's the 3 best arguments you can say if you're put on the spot that any flat earther has offered, the best to the worst.
I've never heard one good argument. I couldn't
Oh,
tell
here,
you.
let me take a shot at this, Pete.
I've always got.
Pete, let me take a shot at this. So, what do you tell them about the lockstep atmosphere? How do you explain that one to them in physics class?
I don't tell them anything. I let them research what is actually happening and let them make observations. I don't tell them anything.
How come you don't give them that argument, though? I mean, I guess because you really can't show any evidence or demonstration or point to any phenomena that shows the heliocentric model of the atmosphere to be true, right?
I mean, there have been like maybe in the past 2 years, 6 or 7 kids who have brought up the Coriolis because they've heard it either from QE or from Nathan, who I refer to their channels.
No, this isn't Coriolis. This is Magic Land. We're a solid.
No, I don't. Hey, so let's be really straightforward. I don't tell the kids anything other than giving them 13
Leave the kids out of it.
sources,
I'm asking you, you little
but
shit.
stop. 13 sources for flat Earth discussion, we'll say, and then I ask them one question. What's the evidence?
Did you
for the
tell us
shape
what
of
the
the
one
Earth?
question was?
I'm
What's
asking
the shape of the
you.
Earth and what's the evidence therefore? And
Oh.
if they ask, if they're like very disinterested, I will often assign them sub questions that they can then explore, but I don't give them any information other than here are 13 sources of flat Earth things that you can also get more sources from. But I typically give them, I give them the black swan argument. Everybody finds that very boring. Like ninth graders and 11th graders find it very boring, so they typically don't look at it. I've only had maybe like 15 kids that like look into things like refraction and stuff like that because they're interested in it. But
You're full of shit, man. And you don't teach any kids.
Oh, okay.
Pete,
School council would have be on your back because you're toking all of this sort of. You're given sort of room and air to flat Earth argument. You're encouraging all the children. But I asked you, hang on, please. You're not here. There's no kids here. I asked you specifically yourself. I don't care what you do for a living. I asked you yourself, what's the best 3 arguments you could say right here to all those adults that are the best arguments that flat earthers could put forward?
There are no good arguments for flat Earth. I've been listening.
But then you're a fucking fake, and I wouldn't leave you within a mile of my child. Fuck off.
All right.
Well, you can't even present historical context for flat Earth. Like you just burn all the history books and tell them, look only
when did you hear
after 1972 or from the
when did you hear me? When did you hear me about burning a history?
Well, how do you explain that flat Earth came first?
I don't. So I don't think you guys get this. I am not dictating to kids what to think. I give them 13 sources and a question. And from those 13 sources, they can go off to whatever they like. This is 13 just starting points. No even arguments. In none of those 13 books, there's no Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's just people like Jeranism, QE, Nathan Oakley. Hell, I think Brandon even made it on here at some point. On one of them, I have to draw up the list again. We don't usually do
all their answers are gauged against the ball. Hang on, all their answers are gauged against a spinning ball Earth standard, right? And when I ask you, have you seen both sides of the argument? You can't even tell me the top 3 arguments a flat earther has to offer.
I'm telling you that all the arguments, there's no good arguments. You asked what's the 3 best. I said
good arguments, Brandon. Tell him the good arguments of fucking flat Earth.
Yeah, there's lots of good arguments.
No. I haven't seen.
Well said.
So yeah, Brandon, like I have listened to this for literal years, and I have never heard an argument that like has any coherent pieces of evidence behind it.
I'll give you one right now. So, who asked that you forego all of sort of the history of Earth and how we came to this determination? I'll give you one right now. To take away all of the previous civilizations, from plenty of them anyway, from this flat stationary Earth thinking, certain solid evidence had to be provided that the Earth was moving first of all. When was the Earth first proven, RC Meisty, to move? Against everyone's experience. Everyone on Earth can testify that if we know stillness, we know that when we're standing still on the Earth. When was the best evidence presented or the proof provided that the Earth that we're standing on moves 1 iota the way that all current theorizing, right, could be established and validated, and all future thought, right, could continue on such a solid foundation to take us away from such a solid foundation as flat and stationary Earth? Can you tell me that?
Yes.
Top of your head.
We know the Earth moves.
Yes, how do we know that the Earth moves?
Okay. We know the Earth moves because we can measure its movement using both fiber optic and mechanical.
Not now. What took the majority of the Earth, the ancient civilizations who understood the Earth was flat and stationary, away from that paradigm shift to a paradigm shift in thinking, right, away from their everyday experience? What was the evidence provided to them? Not now.
I don't understand your question. What are you asking?
So the ancient civilizations were flat and stationary Earthers for the most part.
Question.
Oh, at some point there was a transition. When was the Earth first decided to move? Because that's the starting point. The Earth was decided to move. Then the ball develops from that because we base it on what we experience when we observe the skies.
I don't think you have any evidence for that statement.
I'm asking you, when was the Earth first proven to move? That is
Evidence
true.
wasn't
That's a
really
logical.
presented to them per se.
That's a logical
What happened
necessity,
was
by the
this
way.
was decided in academia, and it was pushed on the rest of the masses through the academic institutions. The masses were not really asked for their opinion or for asked for their methodology as to why they would believe or not believe that the Earth is moving with any sort of conclusive evidence or persuasion. It was adopted by academia, by organs in academia, and it was pushed on the rest of the masses. That's all.
Great. And you know what I've done? As I've said, I've actually taken flat earthers' advice and said, you know what? Screw academia. We need to expose our kids to new ideas and without
old
all
ideas.
filters, right? And I said, all right, guys, here are 13 flat earthers making myriad of arguments. Now come back and tell me what is the shape of the earth and what is the evidence thereof. That's all they have to do for 5 weeks. They freaking research it. We have debates and everything else. I don't say a damn word.
Fascinating. Have you heard any interesting takes from the
No.
students?
Fuck that.
Yeah.
5 weeks is not enough time. You're handing a child a bazooka. They don't know what to do with this shit. 5 weeks? That's nothing. You're crushing their
You tell them
dreams.
the
You're like
fucking
Adam
best
Sandler playing
arguments.
dodgeball.
Well, it only took me like a week to decide, actually
You need
more
to
like
do
a day to
more.
decide that it was
All
right
right,
around
Jeremy.
for me.
All right, Jeremy. Then you find me
Earth
another
has a
educator in
shape.
America. You find me another science educator in America, freaking accredited, that puts flat Earth in front of kids without any other context other than here's a question and here's 13 sources. Freaking go at it, guys.
You
And
were
if
so
you
you
wanna-
were.
if
Hang
you
on,
wanna
you
try
little
to find
shithead.
another educator
Hang on, you
like
little
that, hey,
shithead.
shut up, Pete.
You're not
If
any
you want to find
fucking
another
you're not up
educator
in any
like
pillar
that,
here.
Jeremy, you go right
You're a
ahead.
miseducator. You're a miseducator, and if you're doing that, you were allowed to do that. You were instructed to do that. Here, you're not at work, and I asked you a question as a fucking man, as a truth seeker, and someone has a responsibility to teach children the best, right?
Yeah, and I did.
You fucking answer.
Yeah,
Of
I
all
did
the
answer your
hours that you
question.
spend here, flat Earth is no good argument. You fucking fake.
They don't. Like, here's the deal, Pete. I've put this in front of kids for years now. I think this will be my fourth year. This will be my 4th year, and not one kid has come back to me and said, "Now I think the Earth is flat."
Well, then
Have
you're
your
a
kid
fucking
come in
piss
here.
poor communicator, and your heart isn't in it.
Well, of course it's not. Now listen, hold up, Pete. So you want me to push on them what I think or don't think in this process?
Give them fair chance at both. Look how many years it's been spent teaching them the heliocentric model.
5 weeks
Teach
and
them some of the
13
things that you know better about the best
5
flat Earth
weeks.
arguments for even a fraction of the time.
Okay,
Don't leave it up
5
to
weeks
themselves.
of class.
They don't want to fucking do homework or thinking like
5
that.
weeks of class and 13 sources, open sources of flat Earth conversation. You don't think is a fair chance?
Okay, I'm
And then
asking
you
you,
give
what
them-
was the
hold on,
best
Pete.
source you gave them? Hang on, Jeremy. What was the best source? If you had to pick one source,
Yeah,
you could only give them
longest
one video.
Yeah, sure, no problem. The longest one was the 200 Proofs by Eric Debate.
Right.
Everybody
what was his
hates
best?
Everybody hates watching that one, and I make them watch that one.
Dude, that's
Okay.
As a
bullshit.
homework.
Everyone should have loved that.
That's a
Yeah,
fascinating.
and they hate
That's a
watching it
fascinating
because
thing.
it's so
What's your
it's
best? Hang on,
It's
please.
the most
What's your
boring voice they've ever heard in their
okay,
life.
RC, my Steve?
RC, how old are these
That's
kids?
impressive. I like to give her a hand. You know, that's a good source, and it sounds pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
RC,
Well,
RC, how old are these kids?
My ninth graders are typically anywhere from 14 to 16, and my 11th graders are, any 16 to 18.
It took me months and months and months as an adult to get some of these arguments down good. There's no way you're giving a little kid 5 weeks, and they're gonna be even halfway decent at them. You're probably giving them your bullshit rebuttal. Hold on, I'm almost done. You're probably giving them your bullshit rebuttal, and they're just eating it up like, oh, okay, oh, sure, yeah, that sounds good.
I never participate in the debates, ever. I give them 13 flat Earth sources. And this is everything from freaking Eric Debate to quantum erasers, what do you call it, Black Swan argument, anything you want. And there's a couple of really good, I thought they were really good debate from people like Witsit Gets It, like who go on extended freaking
gave him
discourse
mine.
about the flat Earth.
What's the best
My
fucking
point is,
arguments
like,
any of these people have to offer, man?
if
From your
your
point of view,
criticism
RC
is
Meister,
five-
because you
hey,
gauged that
Tom,
they were worthwhile. Hang on, please.
finishing
Because
my
you gauged
sentence.
that they were worthwhile to offer as sources to your children. What's the best? Name
Should have
3 of the
told him
best
fish aren't
arguments
breathing
Eric
air
Dubé
in
had
their
to
water.
offer in his
I'm
200
gonna shut
proofs.
up for a second. So, if your argument then is 5 weeks is not enough, with Flat Earth's 13 most loud and boisterous minds, that 5 weeks isn't enough to get kids at least interested in it, then man, that's a reflection on you, not on me.
Why did you pick Eric Dubé's 200 proofs? What is his best 3 proofs offered? If you've watched it and you've
He doesn't
understood
have
all
any
of the
good.
offerings.
He doesn't have any good proofs on there. Not one
Well,
good
why
one.
didn't you provide someone who offered some good proofs then?
Because there are no good proofs.
Well, why did you fucking take so much time to offer the children these options?
Because they need to engage with different ideas.
The base
Me up.
pretty
Me
gives
up.
the bare bones arguments as a nice introduction primer to these students. I mean, people are busy; they have lives to lead. 5 weeks, if it isn't enough, then so be it. But it only took me a day after hearing about this over and over and over again to really say to myself, you know what, it's flat. So it really doesn't take 5 weeks or 5 years
but-
even. I
Yeah,
really
but
believe it.
did you have a gas pressure with no container argument down after one day, or the various other arguments we have?
Dude,
how long did it take, Lemon?
How long?
What I
It only
constantly
takes
hear from
me
the
50
what I
cents in this
constantly
class.
hear from the
A
flat
It
comedian
took
and a
me
picture.
one question.
is I heard the argument and I knew it was flat. I heard that from Nathan Oakley. I've heard it from freaking Nathan Thompson. I've heard it from Witsit Gets It. I've heard it from so many people that, oh yeah, I heard these arguments and I knew it. Right?
John.
So if you want to tell me now that even your
John.
best, the best of your best, can't persuade a freaking
Listen.
14-year-old
Let
kid
me
in
talk to your
5
Hang on a
class.
weeks
second.
of
Let me
nothing
comment
but
when he's
talking about
finished,
it,
please.
the man, again, that's a
Right,
reflection
RC.
on
Have
you.
you
Get
let
your
the
point.
mock talk to him?
One
RC,
second.
you
You're
should
better,
have it.
you're better than Eric
RC,
today.
hold on a
Will you
second,
at
guys.
least admit, let me say this, please. Will you at least admit that you will tell the children, you know that we all experience the Earth as flat and stationary. Now, it's not so. Here are people putting forth arguments, but this is certainly what we all experience. Do you experience the Earth as flat and stationary?
Listen,
Wow,
RC, there's too many.
Good job.
RC, there's too many bullshit hours of flat Earth content. You should have let a flat earther make up a playlist or something, or
I
provided.
literally did. I asked people.
Who did it?
People all over this community. I said, hey, what video do you guys think people? Number one response was Eric Dubé's 200 proofs. Cool. Okay. And then I said, what are the next ones? Huey himself said, if I were to present anyone with anything, it would be the Black Swan argument. In fact, you know what one of those other 13 is? I said, hell, Huey, I'll do you one better. I give them the GlobeTerminator.com that Huey made on freaking Squarespace. Okay, and I say, hey, this is one of the reads that you have to do. Not all of them are videos. They have to read Huey's stupid website.
Archie,
Objecting to the Black Swan, man. What was your
You're
objection to the Black
all-
Swan?
about the water level?
RC, the Black Swan argument is about what's it about?
Calibrate water level.
This is amazing. This is just amazing, man. This guy has done more than any other globe earther to open up kids' eyes to both sides, and you guys are fucking tearing them apart.
Bullshitting. This is bullshit.
No, how are you bullshitting?
Yeah, the
How are
Black,
you
the Black
bullshitting?
Swan argument.
Let me talk to him.
It's about what?
Let
What's
me
it
talk
about?
to him.
So you're
Give
better
me
than
20 minutes. Give me 20 minutes. Give me 20 minutes with no interruptions.
You know what? You know what the funny part was is that kids at my
in
school,
20 minutes, I would make your
at a lot of the high schools that I work at, during lunch, kids are allowed to watch. The teachers will often put on a movie while kids are eating lunch because they have to eat lunch in the classrooms these days. And so they'll often put on. So kids will often say, "Hey, let's put on Netflix." One of the kids found what is that? What's the Netflix documentary called?
Propaganda piece behind the curve or whatever.
The one that was purposely made. The one that was made.
Like an actual good discussion of
The one
like,
was made.
hey,
The one that was made with all the Masons. Yeah, go on.
To make Darwinism look.
Level. Why didn't you put on the documentary Level that was
I
made by
actually did.
flat earthers?
You know what? I told them to put up Eric Dubé's new one. In fact, have you seen Eric Dubé's new?
These people are fucking
thing
fakes,
with,
man.
So that's a no. You didn't.
Hear this guy. Fucking hell.
Hey,
Just say he did. Level.
Can you guys hear me? Can you guys
No,
hear me?
and then he went on.
Yeah,
Yeah?
I hear you now.
You can hear me?
Brandon.
Okay, all right. I had a
Yeah.
problem with my mic. Sorry,
I
thank
heard
you.
something glitch
I
out
gotta
weird
say,
a few minutes ago.
One of my other.
I gotta say, I gotta back up
Did I
RC. Hold on, I was gonna say something. I gotta back up RC, Tony V on this a little bit. I mean, at least RC is exposing them to something. He's giving them both sides and asking them to think for themselves. I gotta hand him that at least.
Actually,
Yo, he's
actually,
not.
Brandon,
Is he really though?
Brandon, I don't even give them. Hey, Brandon, I don't even give them the other side.
What part of the curriculum
You
is
can't
that?
even list the
No,
top
Archie,
five
what part of your
Brandon?
You can't
Can I
even list the
say
Yeah,
top
I
three.
heard you. I heard you.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't even give them the other side. I just give them 13 flat earth sources. I don't give them counter arguments. Now, if they hear a counter argument, because like I know one of the sources I give is a debate with Witsa Gets It, for example, because I thought he did a good job in the debate, actually like presenting points rather than screaming at people. And so, like, if they hear another side, it's simply because it's in the context of a debate in the source,
What was
right?
the best
Not
rebuttal
because
offered by the students to the Black Swan then? If none of them came back with anything reasonable, what was the best rebuttal to write off the Black Swan observation?
I mean, there's just no good, like, the Black Swan is not good evidence about the shape of the earth.
It's a fucking very
you-
clear argument made, man.
Oh
What's the
my
argument
God!
about?
See, this is
What was
why
the best
we can't.
argument offered by your students?
They have no.
He can't even watch. He won't even be able to say what the argument's about.
Well, hold
Like,
on,
RC,
guys.
what's the Black Swan about? What's the
Hold on,
argument
guys.
about?
It's not about giving a side. It's about opening their minds up to it.
Hold on,
So
RC.
you're
Do you show?
presenting- What
Hold
is
on,
the?
Craig.
What's the Black Swan
RC,
argument?
RC, do you show the kids the conversations we have where I just absolutely demolish you?
Yeah, right.
We do have one of them where I am in it, and it's on a Nathan Oakley debate where they do hear me in there for a second. And I don't think you were on that one, but that's the only one that they have where it's me on there. There is another one that is on Jim's server, and I don't think it's you. I think it's Chemo who's talking.
Working this, I think you were.
So did you ever teach your kids, RC, did you ever teach your kids?
Shouts out to
Did you ever
Chemo.
teach your kids that diffraction limit?
Shouts out.
And the argument with the black swan and the difference between conflating optics as a physical feats and boundaries measurement, giving it a parameter. Did you talk to them about that?
He wouldn't give our actual argument.
Guys. We got like 5-on-1 talking to RC right now. Let's give him a chance to respond in between.
Yeah, just mayonnaise in it.
Black Swan.
I make it
He won't be able to do it.
On advice of the flat earthers themselves. When I actually came up with this, when I first started having contact with this community, I asked, should I?
None of your kids walked away learning.
Oh my
You're not
gosh.
answering questions.
Let him finish. Let him finish, please. RC, go ahead,
I'm
finish.
muting the next. I'm muting the next person that interrupts.
I said, if I asked the flat earthers, should I actually teach the arguments? Or should I give them the sources and just ask the question, what is the shape of the earth and what is the evidence therefore? And so I got an overwhelming response. No, let them explore it for themselves. But make sure you give them good sources. And I said, okay, well, tell me what are the good sources? And over the years, I've compiled this list of about 13 sources, one of which is like QE's Globe Terminator website. Other ones are like the Black Swan video. Other ones are like, debates with Nathan Oakley, Witsa Gets It, Nathan Thompson.
Is this just going to go on and on?
All these things.
He keeps saying the same thing over and over again.
He's not really saying anything. He's not really saying
Yeah, he
anything.
is repeating. RC, you are repeating the same thing over and over again. I'll give him that. Let me read a couple things real quick because it's relevant to this. Mike Jones says because he's lying. I guess Mike isn't buying your story, RC, but I do believe you myself. And then he says, RC, send the kids to the next level Discord channel. Yeah, do you give him that argument? Level equals horizontal?
Brandon, do you think 5 weeks is enough? This is like giving the Taliban an attack
No,
helicopter.
but it's a lot more than the kids out there are getting, Jeremy. I mean, he's giving them 5 weeks to investigate flat Earth. We should, all the content he's given them, I'd love to see the list and add a couple things to it myself. All the content he's given them should make some kind of an impression. I mean, he's right there.
You know what, Brandon? I'm going to make you this promise. Hey, Brandon, I'm going to make you this promise right here.
I bet you it has.
Hold up. As soon as I get home this evening, I'm going to send you the list. And Brandon, you personally can choose any 5 or add any 5 to change out from that list. All right.
Are you giving people just
Okay.
saying here's Jaronism, watch them, or here's this person? There's thousands of hours worth of content.
Yeah, he's
Right.
not.
How do they know the good?
argument.
How do they know the good videos?
Right.
I want to see your video
on
list.
their own.
Sure, no problem. I will send you the video list.
Okay. 1 second.
Yeah, I'll be looking for that,
You
RC.
said that you were given the option. 1 second, Brandon. He said he was given the option, and overwhelmingly he was advised to give the available videos or whatever, and let the children decide for themselves. Can you, because the children aren't here, can you tell us if you went for the other way and gave the best arguments in as brief as possible terms for the black swan? Can you do that for the rest of us adults here?
Yeah,
Do
right
that.
now. Let's see how he does it.
He wasn't even arguing for the globe. Are you guys
Listen,
fucking retarded?
I didn't say that. He said he had a choice to present the black swan arguments, or else to give the options for the children to bring. Can you just for the adults here who are not part of your own life, can you tell us how you would summate the top 3 black swan arguments for the children yourself?
Sure. If the Earth is a sphere of 3959 miles, then every horizon distance must be no greater than the square root of the observer height in feet. Let's see,
Right.
1.22 times the observer height, square root of the observer's height in feet. Right.
Right, and that's a fact, right? That's an established
No,
fact by
that's
science.
not.
Right?
That's not a fact. No.
It is a fact.
No.
So wait a second,
Well, it's not a
RC.
fact.
Just so you know, if you take the diameter of your feet and inches value, multiply it by feet, you'll end up with 41,807,040. If you square root that and divide that by feet again, you end up with 1.22459.
Yes, I know.
At a geometrical, so it's a geometrical perimeters and boundaries.
No.
Which would be
Yes, but hang on,
confined.
Dad.
See, look, he can't even present black swan
the
to
radius,
anyone here.
which would
He's
confine the
bullshitting.
radius.
So what
to
are
have
the
a
other
limitation.
aspects of the black swan argument? That's all I'm saying. What
Yeah.
are the other?
The key thing about the black swan argument, which I do not present to kids, by the way, I let QE present it as
Yes,
he does,
I'm asking
right?
you about.
So
these aspects.
yeah, when I say, okay, what are the key arguments of the black swan? When he says every horizon distance, what he's saying is he is isolating that this is the only variable that goes into the horizon distance, which is just not true.
No,
Well,
he's
look,
using
RC,
spherical
RC,
mathematics,
RC,
man.
grown,
He's using
RC,
spherical
grown
mathematics,
adults,
which is clear.
hold
Don't
on,
be
Pete, hold on,
inserting your
Pete. Grown
opinion
adults,
here.
grown adult surveyors and engineers, when asked directly, with no intended, nothing, nothing related to the Earth or what it is, but when asked, would the horizon be 1.22 miles away for a 1 foot observer, and everything after that, would things start to go down over the perimeter of your ball Earth? It's immediately rejected as absurd by people who live in reality. But according to your geometrical principle, your geometrical balls, and the calculate or the limit of 3,900
Data, I know the argument.
shows you,
You don't have to
yeah,
just rehash the argument.
shows you, yeah. But hold on, but do you understand that your kids have to understand the distinction?
I'm not sure I said thanks to Mike Jones. Shout out Mike Jones. Thank you very much. I appreciate the super chats. And I agree. The level is horizontal should be on the list.
Hold on.
At least just to get them to think, wait a minute, are you telling me that when I level something and it's horizontal, it's not actually level? Yeah, that's tough to wrap your mind around.
No, you're not.
Yeah, and so were you.
I didn't drone on.
I've literally talked to optometrists who don't look
Okay,
at
Data.
convergence. Let me finish, buddy. Shut up and listen to the facts here.
I already
It's a
have listened to you 30 times about this.
Yeah. Well,
Dude,
obviously
there's
you
an
haven't got it
audience
yet.
as well. We can't hear Data when you talk over him. Please, just let him finish.
Optometrists don't think of the convergence, the effect in a hallway, if you will, looking off into the hallway, the ground appearing to rise and sink into a convergent point to the neutral point of the eye. They don't think of that stuff. So don't tell me your kids understand perspective when optometrists don't even think of that, you moron. Be genuine.
Hey,
and
all
teach
right.
the argument.
So
The
here's
argument
my-
is, let me finish,
here's
let
my-
me
I
finish,
don't
let me get it out,
teach
let me
things
get
to
it
the
out, let me
kids.
get it out, let me get it out. The argument
You've
is
been
what you need to teach
talking
it.
for
Let
5
me get it
minutes,
out.
dumbass.
Let me get this argument out. This is what you teach your kids. There's a difference between having the human eye notice an apparent junction and deriving an angle to it and assuming that has to do with physical curvature. Deriving a angle and through that angle devising a size. Okay? The optical junction is not based on a physical feet and inches values because it's optical. You understand? So it's a conflation of what you're seeing.
All right.
So if you want to
So,
devise, hold on. If you want to
oh
devise
my
something that has,
gosh.
if you want to devise that something,
Diesel Pete. Like, can you shut
I
up?
just muted him. He can't let go of the mic until he's had 3 or 4 points. Marcy, what are you saying?
So here's the point. Okay. I have presented all of both the sources and everything else. If your sources, and if you think you're going to persuade them all data, you know what? Send me your best explanation you have. That is 20 minutes or less. I know that's going to be hard for you. 20 minutes or less. And I will put it, and I will put it on the list.
What are you doing here, man? Can you not present the children with a snapshot of the best arguments or what the Black Swan incorporates?
I don't
Why
teach
don't you
them.
do that? You've done that with the ball. You told them exactly
Shut
what
up
is
for a
what with the
second.
ball. Be fair on both sides.
You need to understand something about my classrooms.
You're a fucking fake. That's all I need to understand.
Pete, you need to understand about my classrooms. I don't sit there and dictate information. I present them sources, and I give them the tools to explore it themselves with good questions. But I
Post
don't
the videos. Post the video list right now. Where's the video list? Hold on, Pete.
Wait till I freaking get my. I just literally walked in my door. I'm gonna fix myself some freaking
We
dinner.
want the
When I
video
sit down
list
with
right
my
now.
and when I sit down with
Forget
my
the dinner.
He's got to make
I will
one.
send it to
He's
you.
got to make one up.
No, I will
Forget the
give you
dinner.
the video
Post it
list.
right
I
now.
told you that later on this evening I will send you the video.
Yeah,
list.
well, after you've
Right,
made it
so
up
hang
because
on.
you're just full.
Well, listen. For all we're concerned, you are a shit teacher. I just want to know that you understand the basic bones of the Black Swan argument. Forget about what your argument is against it. I want to know that you present the argument as is presented to the children. And you can't even give me the different aspects of
Are
it
you
without
deaf,
even
I
Pete?
applaud
Are you deaf,
RC
Pete?
Maisty for presenting this to the children. I applaud RC Maisty. Thank you. What are you saying, Shaiki?
He said he doesn't present it. He let QE present it.
Good point.
So, Data, if your beef with the Black Swan argument and with my students' understanding of is simply your beef with QE, it's not with me. Then you need to talk to QE about how his apparent argument does not line up with reality sufficiently.
it goes beyond the Black Swan. It comes down to taking a measurement with the human eye and then using optics to show you that optical measurement based on 2 optics will have 2 different size Earths. Okay, so that's the whole point of doing the observation. If you do the Black Swan observation, you notice that the horizon apparent position is what, 10 miles? Apparently, well, that would leave you with what, a radius of Earth that's extremely much larger than you've been taught. So the point of the exercise is to understand that you can measure 2 different size Earths, right? And there's a reason for that. It's because the optical junction is not a physical Earth curve. It's caused by optics. That's the point of the exercise.
Your mic's low, Data.
RC can't even say Black Swans about the horizon. He can't even repeat that. But yet somehow he thinks he's has something going on with like 5 weeks of distances and directions of flat Earth content on YouTube.
Well, the main thing is we're dealing with new territory, so we're going to need to deal with a new curriculum. If I had to formulate a curriculum, I'd talk about, an introductory perspective, optics, cameras, maybe an introduction to, conspiracy or history, to talk about the history of the Jesuits and the people that are pushing this from the conspiracy side, from the perspective side, NASA's history. We would probably do some distance measurements like with the Black Swan, laser, talk about the people doing, stuff like that, and measurements that concord or go against the shape of the Earth, and stuff like that. Talk about,
that sounds like good schooling.
Yeah, and so we're formulating new curricula here, and so it's going to be, new territory. But that might be a good start, going forward or whatever. But it's good to expose these kids to both sides of the arguments, whatever they are.
And I don't mind the approach of letting them think for themselves, giving them the information and saying, hey, make of this, what you will. That's what they're going to have to do when they get out of school, is think for themselves. So maybe that does help teach them the critical thinking. And in high school, you don't have the critical thinking skills that you develop later in life. That's one of the problems. And why people are so easily controllable is because when we're young, we lack the critical thinking skills, right?
What happens when they learn this information? They have 5 weeks to go over thousands of hours worth of content. It's just like handing a child a bazooka. What happens when they learn these arguments? They barely learn an argument, and then RC comes at them with the bullshit rebuttal. They probably swallow it up like it's fact.
He says he doesn't do that though.
Did you mention rebuttal?
No, he'll be giving the ball. They'll be talking about the ball afterwards.
Partially. Can't even repeat it to us, the arguments. The three top arguments. The flat earthers have, and we have fucking tons of them.
Well,
guys, he's gonna give us the list. He said he'd send it to me. We can swap stuff out. It's very cool. So we'll swap stuff out, make it better. At least it's getting in front of kids. At least they're thinking about alternatives to what the mainstream is teaching them.
Yeah, just basically.
RC is can't even be genuine enough, I think, to admit that you can assume the Earth is flat and stationary. I don't even think he's that honest to even admit that you can assume it.
Well, that's one of the things I would give him, Data, is that videotape of my conversation with Blue Marble Science about flight, if anybody remembers that, where Blue Marble Science basically says, yes, you're right. Pilots treat the Earth as if it's flat and stationary. I think it's very telling. I think it's very telling that pilots talk about the Earth as if it's flat and stationary, and there's no consideration for curvature or rotation that needs to be made. Goes right along with this lockstep atmosphere nonsense.
But yet RC Meister can't give the top three reasons for, or the top three arguments that any flat earther worth his soul could offer. Isn't that very funny? He's not offering equal opportunity. He can only give one answer, and he stumbles his way through that. Isn't that unbelievable?
He's a true believer.
Even him, as he claims to be a pilot. He's a pilot.
Well,
he could
he's
use
an
a pilot
educator.
argument.
He's an educator, though. He's saying to us that, look, you have to believe me. I'm being honest. I'm giving all of the arguments. Well, we're saying to him, okay, fair enough. Now, forget about your school. As a man here on Brandon's channel, let us know what the top three flat earther arguments are.
We're
Just
all
as
learning
lay them
about
out.
this, Pete. So, as educators and educated or student alike, we're all learning about this. The flat Earth reawakening has just happened in the past couple of years. It's going to take some time. It is what it is. And plus, with the burial of good, flat Earth content on YouTube, a lot of this is by word of mouth. You have to know who to go to get some decent flat Earth content about perspective, about the possible conspiratorial history, about physics, about optics, about perspective, about the mathematical formula, and all of the arguments that people are using pro and con against flat Earth. This is still sort of a niche concept in some ways.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. You don't need fuckers like him around your children.
Yeah,
You tell your
hold on,
child down.
Pete. Even optometrists don't think this, dude. Like, it's not, the
Don't give a
eyes
fuck
are not
what they
thought
think.
of
They're
this.
all part of the fucking lie. The children don't need to be
No,
prolonged
no,
within the lie any longer.
They're good people, man. Like, the optometrists I'm supposed to meet up with, they're good people. There's nothing, they don't know anything. They're just living their life, getting an
Vouch for
education.
him has been a good person. If he's
Because you know what, I've talked to him enough.
Promoting a lie.
I've talked to
he
him
can't be a
enough.
good person.
Let me. Most people are good, Pete. Most people on the scale, whether they're whatever religion, they're good people. Right.
Not
Generally.
saying that. But RC Meister here is not good. RC Meister's a liar.
Well, the problem with that is that's how easily it is that even NASA or other institutes will tell you that you can assume flat Earth and do calculations. Now, how is that even possible if the Earth doesn't resemble any formation of that? So that's the simple acknowledgement of that is really just how to, I guess, call it out. And you can call RC out that simply, that easily, and show basically how simple it is to show what dog in the fight does this guy have to be that obvious.
Well, we see that over and over too, right? That you can assume flat on practical activities, and they always do. Surveying, right? You assume flat as level. Almost everything practical outside of some kind of scientific experiment that was purposely built for the heliocentric model assumes that Earth is flat and stationary. Does it not? I mean, when does the rotation of the Earth come into the practicality of anything on Earth?
Right. And Brandon, the very best thing.
See visually, because they say that a hump of Earth curvature must be blocking what's beyond, which is a little bit like begging the question, unless we have actual proof of curvature relative to some sort of straight standard.
Well, the very best thing you can say to children, right? Because he's so helpful. But hang on, because he's so accommodating, R.C. Mice, the very best thing you can say to children, which as I mentioned earlier on, at least children, we can all begin from the same starting point, which is that's all we've ever experienced as living beings, is a flat and a stationary Earth surface. So that's a good starting point for children in terms of like how they'll move forward. But he won't say that. He won't even. I would just say he'll tell us that he doesn't live in a flat.
Lemon, I'm just thinking, if the apparent size of the Earth is what they say it is 7 million times bigger than the average human being, right? So if the Earth is 7 million times bigger than the average human being, then why are you claiming that these people can measure curvature 6 feet at one distance, one shot? When if you look at any of the actual measuring data when they're talking about geodesy, they're measuring like anywhere from, I don't know, 10 to 100 triangles, these little triangles everywhere. Right, so it's just if the Earth is 7 million times bigger, according to the size they tell us, and we're arguing like it should be just so obvious that it's not possible to measure curvature for a little tiny guy on the ground and one linear path, right? So it should just be that obvious because we've been up in the air enough to look down to see it that there's nothing. It's just obviously an optical.
Data.
That's what he should do. He should have his kids go out and actually take a physical measurement of curvature. Hey, children, go out here. You can use whatever tools you want. Go make a physical or take a physical measurement of curvature.
Well, I mean, they're the same guy who says you can calibrate a water level. Are you guys serious?
Well, the thing is, they're going to use visual instruments, but they're going to need to know about the diffraction limit and the interpretations of what could be going on visually over a flat plane. It'd be nice if they had something like Life is Short's video that introduces the possibility of the diffraction limit, making the ceiling merge with the floor, even over a flat surface, and appear to obstruct what's beyond, with or without a hump of Earth curvature in the way. And so we need to look at the theory, we need logic and everything, yeah.
Life is Short stuff is fantastic. A lot of it is good. I haven't watched it in a couple years, but and when I did watch it, it was fantastic. I'll have to look at it again. But that, you want to talk about, no offense to Life is Short, but giving the kids 4-6 hours of that needs to be broken down into like 100 different episodes.
Are you talking about the presentation that he did on Jeranism show with the hallway and perspective and all that?
No, he's got his videos on his channel, but that one was good. That one was good too.
Yeah, you can't expect someone to swallow this up. Hold on a second, Lemon.
Yeah,
you can't expect someone to swallow this up in 5 weeks. I was watching.
Not the diffraction.
I was watching Jeranism in Oakley for at least a couple years, and then I spent a year in GEMS till I actually got good at the arguments. You cannot expect a 9th grader who doesn't even know about half the shit I already know about.
They're smart.
Well, I think my thoughts, as I've been listening here, the way that R.C. Micey presented it, I think there's a lot of issues with what he's doing in a lot of different ways, but I think that ultimately it's more of a sociological kind of a question, because the truth is what it is, but we're living in a world of a massive amount of deception. And so these kids are in 9th grade. They all want to get good grades. They want to, be accepted by their teacher and their parents and whatnot. And they're all told, you have to get these, obviously the grades to get a job. And so their entire, as most of us grew up, their entire life survival is dependent on their performance. And so then you have this teacher coming in that has this like addiction to flat earth, like this guy, R.C. Meisty, this like weird issue that he has, this cognitive dissonance thing. He comes in, he presents, he tells them all that, and that's fine to give them the information. There's nothing wrong with exposing them to some additional information. But I would be willing to bet every ounce of my being that once those kids watch the videos, first of all, for them to even really come to this in that context, what would they have to do? No, teacher, you're completely wrong. All of my schooling up to this point is completely wrong. I'm going to completely go against my parents and everything. I mean, that would be a huge ask for them to, like, quote unquote, wake up in that kind of situation. But in addition to that, I'd be willing to bet every ounce of my being that once those kids come and they say, oh, I heard this idea and this black swan, R.C. Meisty is right there with a hot iron to grill into them the globe earth proof and to break down their minds and to re-indoctrinate them, to show them why those arguments are wrong. So he might give it to them openly. Hey guys, check these videos out. But if any of those kids question anything, I'd be willing to bet that he is grilling and grinding them with what he does here in this community.
That's exactly, you beat me. I was going to say that exactly, Gio.
I'm taking the bet. How much?
That's what I said.
With the deception and the
I'm taking the bet.
lies that he's just impressing into them, and then the kids all go, "Oh yeah."
A big shout out to Bill G. Congratulations. Yeah, I wonder where you've been. You had the best excuse to miss the show for sure. 2 daughters, it looks like. Twins born, wife and baby, happy and healthy. Couldn't ask for more than that, man. Congratulations. Amelia and Adeline. I like those. That is awesome. A and A. My daughter's name's Abigail. I like the A names. Congrats, man. Very happy for you.
Messy start. You can't just jump in now. Just give me 1 second, please. We all know that a sphere is a shape. What shape is flat?
How do you grade them, RC?
Flat is it's a descriptor. Flat is a descriptor of.
I would like to give R.C. Meisty time to defend himself. Whether or not flat is a shape is sort of irrelevant right now, since we're throwing shade on Meisty. R.C. Meisty, do you have a response?
Good call, Lemon.
Yeah, R.C. Meisty thinks you can calibrate a water level, so we don't need him to defend himself.
Yeah, I mean, listening to how he abuses children with deception is honestly just painful to hear.
Okay.
Well, come on, hold on. Go ahead, RC.
R.C. Meisty defend himself.
What part of the curriculum is flat Earth, R.C. Meisty? What part of the curriculum do you classify flat Earth?
Hold on, Rob.
Guys.
Defense.
It's going to be under like
Two questions on the table. First is, am I there to rebut anything? I never participate in the debates, and I tell them at the beginning, I am not going to lecture on anything. And I am never. Hey, hold up. And I am never going to participate in any of the debates whatsoever that you guys have. Now, I do organize debates, but I never say anything in the debates. I only let the students actually present.
So you're telling me, hang on, you're telling me that if one of these kids, hold on, RC, you're telling me that if one of these kids had a mind-blowing awakening, they are now a flat earther, 100%. They don't believe it. Hang on, let me finish. They don't believe the government. Hang on. What I'm saying is that if one of these kids woke up and 100% thought the earth was flat, he's going home to his parents and saying the earth is flat. He's going to his teachers. He's going to other people. You're telling me that you would just sit back as RC, look at that. I woke up a kid to flat earth. You're telling me that's how it would go down? Of course not.
I don't, hey, 100%.
You would re-indoctrinate them into the lies and deceptions that you are pushing.
I don't actually.
Kids are too scared to say if they even believe it or not. They'll be too
You gotta
scared.
let RC. You gotta give him a chance to defend himself. You guys are accusing him of brainwashing his students. Let him respond, please.
So, I never participated in, and I don't. If a kid says they're a flat earther, I was like, okay, cool. What's your evidence? That's it. And then
you would beat down. You would beat down whatever he brought up.
No, I wouldn't. No, I don't.
RC, all you're doing.
You're telling me,
RC, all you're doing.
Nobody, hold on a second, Data. You're telling me nobody does?
I have never had a kid that now they've asked me questions, and I say, I am not the one participating in this. This is what you can look up if you want to know what a flat earther says X,
You
Y,
don't know
or
what the
Z.
kids are thinking then, because they can't come to you to ask questions.
Who's the person that crushes all the belief they might start to have in an opposing view?
Their own debates.
This program. Under what curriculum are you doing this, man?
Their own debates. I've never had
Whose
kid.
authority have you whose authority have you to do this with the children?
I have never had a kid come to me at the end of this and say I'm a flat earther. No.
What about the children, though? What about the parents? If I was teaching my son, bringing my son to be taught, I wouldn't be too happy at you teaching my children these alternatives, which are crazy and loony.
Why not?
Something that's not on the
Because they're crazy
curriculum.
and loony, according to you.
Because he wants indoctrination. That's why.
Because it's not his
But
job.
who doesn't participate? So who's
Let me ask
who has signed up on this program? That's my question.
What do you teach for the other 30 weeks?
Hold on. Let me ask you a question, RC.
Yeah, what's up?
What was I going to ask? Okay. So, do you think that if one of your students was like, you know what, I'm convinced that the Earth is flat, at the end, and he gave the arguments, let's say it was a STEM student. I assume you teach STEM, since the way you described the school. Do you think that if he held that opinion through high school, that he would be penalized when it came to looking for scholarships or placement at some of the STEM universities?
No, because if they know how to do their stuff, then it doesn't matter what their belief is based on something. If they know how to do their math and they can pass their AP physics exam, then guess what? It doesn't matter.
Someone needs to tell George
By all his
not
friends,
back that.
because teachers like you will teach him that there's no good arguments for flat Earth.
What about when the teacher?
I guess sorry, Jeremy. I guess I would say partially that you at least exposing them to some information that's not the mainstream. I would say that's a slight amount of good, or even some amount of good. Yeah, just to at least that they can see some of these videos. But what you're actually doing is actually worse than indoctrinating people with lies, because you're actually presenting them truth and then you're squashing it. And the whole sociological system is built. They believe the Earth is a globe. All of their school, all of their teachers, all of their school that is already. Hang on, they're already reinforcing this global
Answer my
belief.
question. Where did you hear me? Where did you hear me squash anything?
Echo.
Where did you hear me
Because you
squash
can't
anything?
even tell us the three best arguments that flat earthers have to offer.
They have no. You have no good arguments.
You spend all of your
this
free
is
time
why
in
it's
these
more
servers.
harmful.
Yeah, you've been spending your free time in these servers for years, trying to jam globes down people's throats and doing
jammed any globe down anyway.
The idea that all of a sudden in your school, and these kids, you're going to just freely let them wake up to this truth is literally the most deceptive thing I've probably heard on Discord in a while.
That's fine. It's fine that you think about it. I have nothing to. Hey, hold up, stop, Gio. That's fine that you think that. I have nothing to prove to you. Here's the point, though. This is what we do for 5 weeks and 750 kids in 9th and 11th grade. We spend time, they spend time talking about flat Earth. I make it a point that this is 5 weeks of your research and your debates and your arguments, not from me.
Is that your decision, or is that a
Would a
curriculum
flat earther
thing?
be allowed to turn up and help? Like if
What do you
a
mean
flat
help?
a prominent,
You mean indoctrinate?
like actually explain the argument.
Indoctrinate.
No,
all
when
they're
they
doing,
get taught the globe, you teach them the model, just like
No, I
that.
don't teach them the model.
No. When we are taught the globe at school, when we're taught cosmology, we're taught the model. So would you accept a flat earther coming in and actually explaining the arguments? So you will not let a single person finish, will you?
I think you've been here because
Gage, you know what he's doing? Gage, all he's doing to his kids, all he's doing
That's
is
what he's doing.
he's sending his kids down a river of information, and when they start to drown, he's there to rescue them. That's all he's doing.
Exactly. Which is
All right, guys. We've talked about this for a really long time. Let's close this subject out and move on. I want to look at some NASA fakery and make fun of some poor
NASA fakery
graphics work they did in the past. So maybe let's let RC just kind of say his final words, and anybody else wants to say their final words on this subject, we can real quickly. Go ahead.
Sure, 1 minute. So
In the past,
the point is that I don't need to indoctrinate anybody, because science class is about actually exploring information out there and being comfortable that people have different opinions than you. But you have to, and this is the way kids are graded in my class, present claims together with evidence and sound reasoning. And if people can do that, that's what their grade is based on. It's not based on whether they conclude it being a globe or anything. I actually don't care what they conclude. What I care is that they are actually able to form a claim, provide evidence, and provide sound reasoning to say why that evidence supports their claim. That's all. And so, if you guys are,
if you're teaching them to provide evidence, RC, if you're teaching them to provide evidence, RC,
Guys, this is supposed to be the final thoughts. Final thoughts on this subject. Final thoughts on this subject. Were you done, RC?
I was interrupted just now. Can I finish my sentence? So, if you call claim evidence reasoning indoctrination with me not presenting things but flat earthers presenting the arguments and not me, then sorry, like that's insane.
So RC, the problem is that when you present evidence with photographs and sticks and shadows and claim that that's Earth curve, and then use perspective as another conflation of Earth curve, and none of those subjects are concisely argued from an actual position, what would make you ponder the Earth being flat and the reason why there's a growth, and people are turning towards the argument, particularly like yourself. So when you say that there is not a good flat Earth argument, I could bring up hundreds of them, more than 200. One of them would be all the technical papers calculating a flat Earth when it comes to aviation. Why would all those technical papers exist, RC, if they weren't assuming or could assume that the Earth was flat and stationary and then base calculations around it? What would be the point of all those technical papers? That's one good argument, RC, that it's actually based in reality and in the function of your actual field that you participate in, and you blatantly lie in this form about. That is a good argument, RC.
I'm just wondering.
The last quick thing, I'm just going to say this real quick. Hold on, just last quick thing I just want to say on this, because I know Brandon wants to move on, which makes sense. I was just going to say that what RC Meisty is presenting, saying that he's doing, letting these kids go back and forth and all that. That's all good and that's fine and good. And perhaps he does allow them to kind of explore the ideas a bit, even though they're already coming from 9 years of Earth as a globe and this whole school system, so they're already coming from that. So it's not a very good place for them to wake up to this truth in the place where they're already being lied to wake up to the way they're being lied to by the actual institution that is lying to them. Probably not the best combination. However, at the end of it, RC Meisty's not going to let's say every single kid woke up to that the Earth is a stationary plane. Let's say every single kid. He's not just he would be fired from his job. He would have probably,
exactly
child services on him, whatever it is, because he, not child services, but you know what I mean? Like he would have all kinds of flack, be fired from his job and whatnot if all these kids did that. So of course he is there, whether or not they go through some debating for a couple weeks, that's fine. He is absolutely there at the end to crush everything they've said and to tell them the right thing, which is why he's setting this up in the first place.
Can I add, there's no like live, real flat earther standing there either to help them, understand the argument. So, if they've got a question they can ask about the globe, they can ask. There's somebody there.
Does anybody else want to talk shit to RC Meisty? Like, seriously, this was RC Meisty's, last fucking thing to say. Everybody jumped on his ass. Literally, he cannot even respond. Does anybody else want to talk shit to him while he can't respond?
Well, he's fully been responding. I just want to clarify when I said the last thing, when I said the right thing, his globe right thing. That's what I was saying. That's what he's there to write them on his path. That's what he's here doing. He's been in this Discord doing it for years, as if he's just going to let all these kids freely move on with thinking the Earth is a stationary plane.
I wasn't asking you to double down on it.
All right. Anybody else want to say their final thoughts on this subject?
Yeah, if he gave me a group of 10 and he had a group of 10 and he gave me him for a couple days or let him come on here, let me talk to him, and then he had my group debate his group, my group would win.
I would love to see that. All right,
I do have one final thought.
Your group would know how to cuss the most. Your group would be nothing but cuss words.
If I gave a group of 10 students to Debunk, yes, I would have CPS called on me.
I have final thoughts. I want the fucking video list. I want you to give me 5 weeks with these kids, and I'll teach them the arguments, and then we'll see how they do against your group of ballers.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we'll give them the social skills and the psychological and sociological support they're going to need to, actually combat the rest of this psychosis that's going to happen in their outer life. Like their parents and other people.
I think they need emotional support.
Guys, Gio was right in the middle of a sentence. Anyways, they've had by the time 9th grade comes around, they've had years of indoctrination, and you give them 5 weeks. That seems fair.
All right. Anybody else? before we move on?
Yeah. Just gotta say this was probably one of the best final thoughts I've ever seen, because it was very, it was just to the point.
Branch, you're turning up the heat, dude.
Thanks, Branch. All
You're
right.
going from
Brandon, I just have a question. I don't know if RC's answering or whatever. I just want to know is this a gradable?
No.
Okay.
All
I
right.
didn't know. Sorry, I just
Can you see my
sound like
screen?
Seinfeld there.
Yes,
I know I do
I'll
that. I
send-
don't know. It's not on purpose, by the way. I don't know. I must have watched it too much when I was younger.
Yes, I will send you the grading rubric. It's a very simple one.
Yes. Okay. Sounds good. I want to take a look at Level Earth Observer. He put out a video and it's got some clips in it that I just been sitting here watching and playing for the audience. And holy shit. I don't know how you could sit there with a straight face and tell me these aren't models. So I'm just going to play some of this. You can watch it on there. Here's the first one. Okay. This is just one of the landers.
And Brandon, these videos, they're coming from the actual NASA website, aren't they?
Yeah, he finds good stuff on Earth Observer. Yeah, he's got some nice little nuggets that he finds.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure these come right from the NASA website. Just so we're all
this is
clear
out of
on
a
that.
documentary. He says what it is in the thing, I think. Here, let me look. He probably describes it. But yes, these are
But
official video
what
clips.
I mean is you can go to NASA's website and verify these videos are all belonging to NASA.
Yeah, I haven't done it personally, but when I watched the video,
I've done a few
didn't-
of them. You go through the archives and watch some of this shit right from NASA's website.
That one looks
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's like a miniature.
Look at that. I mean, are you gonna sit there and
That
tell
looks
me that that's
legit.
not a fucking model?
That looks legit.
Brandon, if you go back a couple of seconds, the top left-hand corner, you see the round thing, but there's nothing between, like, on the screen. Like, it looks like just a black screen behind it. When it should see up in the top left-hand corner, just back a bit.
This right here, I think it's like something blocking the camera or something.
Yeah, up in that top corner. No, if you go back a bit, you can actually see that there's nothing there. You should see a bit of the earth.
Oh, right up here. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know what's, they could just say that something's blocking it, or that's space. The curve's over here behind that. Who knows? But yeah, you got a good point.
Yeah, who knows what
Very
they would
observant.
say, but yeah, I know.
Yeah.
True, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, they've gone from
I mean-
like back in the early days, it was like D level movie quality, maybe C level. Now they're up to like B, maybe B plus at best. But when we look at this old stuff, it's absolutely absurdly laughable how fake it is.
I'm sorry, Brandon, man. I'll be honest with you, bro. Like, I would normally not speak out, but I don't see anything wrong with this.
Really, you look at this and you think this looks real to me. I think this is genuine
legit,
footage of
dude.
something.
Absolutely.
Precision.
Really?
You can
Okay.
hear him smiling.
That
you
is
can hear his
precision.
smile.
Oh, no.
That is precision engineering at its finest right there.
Yeah,
Look
I'm
at
with
this.
Branch.
Come on, Branch. Look at that thing. Come on, man.
It's legit,
Watch
bro.
this
Like,
thing.
I don't see any reason why anybody would say, you know what? Now they actually focused it. It looks a little more focused. Why it looks so much more
Oh,
clear?
you think the focus is the issue?
Dude, watch
Branch,
the way
you're
these
wrong,
move
bro.
back and
You
forth.
guys, seriously, dude, I'm
Branch.
usually on you guys' shit when you run with this type of stuff, but on
Branch,
that one,
we're in a live show.
I
We're in a live show,
cannot-
Branch. Stop trolling
I
us right now.
cannot get you guys' back on that one.
That's very interesting that you look at this stuff and go, yes, that looks totally real to me, because we'll get people who will sometimes occasionally. Sometimes people will occasionally admit, they'll go, yes, it looks fake, but how's it supposed to look? And then they'll make that argument.
That's
But you just think it
how
looks
it's supposed to
real.
look, because the focus with the hidden, because there's nothing on the back of it to focus in, and that's why it looks clearer. Because it's more focused. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see.
I don't think
anything
it's
wrong
the
with it.
clarity. It's not the clarity that bothers me.
I know it's the
It
focus.
looks unnatural. Look at this thing. This looks like a little toy covered with
No,
tinfoil.
there's
I mean, this is
just something
look at how it
about
moves.
There's just something fake.
That's what it's
That's what
supposed
it's
to look
yeah,
like.
because it's fake. It's supposed to look like that.
No, not supposed to look fake. Image is what it's supposed to look like.
This can't be real footage. This has got to be some kind of.
Yeah,
It says Apollo 9 16 millimeter canister.
I don't know. I mean, I guess the question will be this, yeah? Like, if you don't expect it to look like this, what do you expect it to look like?
Dude, not this. This is a model on a fucking fishing pole or something.
Then what?
Not a fishing pole. Absolutely. Well,
What do you want? Do you want it to look like something from Star Trek?
Well, film and imagery, I mean, ultimately, things can look real. I mean, even movies, when we watch movies, it can look very real. That's why movies can be cool, you know, especially the CGI that they do. So I mean, things that are fake can look real. Things that are
real can look real. And things that are real can look fake.
Well, images are, they're multi-level because of how they come through. But the ultimate question is, what are you looking at? You know, what are they actually picking up? And how can you decipher that? Now, if you have a deep belief that you have to believe the Earth is a globe for whatever reason, perhaps you can write some of this stuff off that it looks legit, even though it very well.
Now you people now you basically the way you phrase that is that I can only believe in this. You have a deep fucking belief in the globe, and the way you're presenting that is like that's a bad thing to have.
He said if.
I'm
He's
just saying,
you
like,
got the globe all deep inside you.
You almost
got globicitis.
You're making it out like it's something bigger than it is. In reality, what it is that look, I believe in the globe, and I believe that's how shit looks when you look.
I know how shit sounds.
Well, the reason I said that is
this is what a model looks like.
If you're looking at toy models, for you, if you want to think the Earth is a globe and so on, for you to say, you know what, that does look fake, it all of a sudden would open up.
I mean, what I'm saying is,
of what's going on.
Brandon, that's it. It looks like Thunderbird.
Is that what Elon Musk meant?
See that Thunderbird.
All right, what do you want it to look like then? Well, let's assume that this was completely fake.
I got my hand up.
If there was a real footage of the same thing, how would it differ?
Go, Grim.
I wonder, is that what fucking Elon Musk meant when whatever his name, Eli, when he said it's because it's real because it looks so fake because they could do CGI good.
Great job, Grim, great job, bro.
Is that what he's trying to say?
That's exactly what he meant. That's
maybe
exactly what he meant. Good job.
Because shut the fuck up, Brent,
And he knows that flat earthers are prone to saying everything is fake. So when someone who's has of that mindset, they're away from flat earth, then they look at it. Well, then it has to be real because the CGI constructors, the fakers, could have made it all the more science-fi looking. And it didn't,
okay.
so it must be real.
That's what I was trying to figure out, like if that's what the people were thinking or something. Okay. Well, I mean, they could have made it a lot better, right? If they were doing some other CGI or some better CGI, if that wasn't CGI, right? Like,
well, back in the day, this was we didn't have HD TVs and all that, so I don't know.
I know, man, but we have Star Wars. Star Wars look better than this, right? If somebody
Kubrick.
They didn't hire Industrial Light and Magic for this shit. I'll tell you that.
I got 3 words.
Lost in
space. That's lost in space. That's embarrassing, dude.
That's the whole point, Brandon. They could have employed the same production crew that were responsible for 2001: A Space Odyssey, but they didn't. So therefore, they didn't for a reason. And is it for what Graham has suggested there? And I already suspected. I think it is. Because what other avenue did the believers have? They hear fake everywhere. Everything is fake with those guys. Then when something is presented, is it anyway? There's a few different possibilities. Is it a mind fuck? Is it another divide and conquer thing, or is the truth being gradually, slowly but surely being made aware? I think the latter there.
That thing's got a
see
face.
how it worked, right?
I don't know, man. It just looks legit to me. It doesn't look fake.
I know. I can't believe you're serious, Branch. I just don't. I don't know if I can buy it.
He's become one of the idiocracy, right?
No, it's not that, bro. It's not
He
that.
waters his
But
plants
there's
with
certain
Gatorade.
shit that I would actually go along with and you
With
know
electrolytes.
and be
Well,
on the
bro-
sides of flat earthers with, but this ain't one of them. I just can't.
Well,
It has electrolytes.
Just go back through
It's what plants crave.
television history and then look at NASA history and all the CGI matches up as TV advancement
It
happened.
looks
So did
fucking legit.
NASA's fakery. No, never. Just always looked like whatever the movies of the day looked like. It's lunacy.
Yeah.
Lunacy.
You saw it with 3 pixels, right? And they made a black hole image.
Look at the
Oh
way they
my
made the
gosh.
lunar lander. I think the lunar lander is on similar ground.
with magnetic field lines, somehow they got that in there too. They had 3 pixels with a blurry smudge. And they go, look at this. We got even the. It's just so full of shit in some cases.
It's a black hole. Yeah, they used all the world's radio telescopes
Look how legit that
and then a
looks.
supercomputer
Just
to.
look at it.
Yeah, none of those. Yeah, none of that equipment had anything to do with gravity. Yet they told you this was gravity. They discovered it. All the equipment to image that black hole was all radio telescopes and shit. None of it had anything to do with gravity. And they're like, that's definitely a gravitational event. What? Smack, 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 smack.
Grim, please.
You gotta
Brandon, did you
admit,
see
asking
that,
us to swallow
Right.
this footage and believe this is real is asking a lot.
How's
mean-
it moving like that in a weightless environment? What is it using propulsion? What's it doing?
Yeah, good question. It does have these sharp like movements, almost like I don't know. It's a model.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think you're watching the original? Maybe.
The what?
The original.
Well,
Maybe we will watch
yeah,
the original.
I do think that this is this
What do you
fake? I mean, is this like a made for TV
I mean,
kind of
this is
mock up
sped up,
there?
that's for sure.
Who cares if it's sped up? You think it's going to look better
Well,
slower?
Rotate it
to
around
see-
anyway
you
as
want
well.
to
Isn't
see
it
the
upside down?
original?
Yeah,
Maybe we watch the
should watch
original
it.
and,
We
and
should
we'll
watch it
judge. What
slowed
do you
down.
think?
Do you guys have an extra like 3 hours?
You'll
Let's
literally
watch
make
it
any
slowed down.
excuse, won't you, Chokey?
If you guys want to get a good giggle, you play the moon landing footage. You play it 7 times faster than it normally is.
Try to
And
try
it's
to
like,
watch
boing,
the
boing,
movie
boing, boing,
I
boing.
posted. How about that?
Bling, 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 bling. He's
Here,
bouncing all over the place.
I'll slow it down, Chikey. How
Fucking
fast do you
hilarious.
want me to slow it down?
Watch the movie
No.
I posted.
No, dude, you don't gotta.
Here we go.
Oh my
Let's watch it
God.
slow. Let's see if it looks better. Oh, damn, you're right, Chikey. That does make a lot of difference. Yeah, that looks
See,
totally
it
real
looks
now.
so much
How
more
about you
Looks legit
watch
now.
the movie
Nothing
I
to do.
posted?
Watch what movie?
It brought the stars into focus.
I posted another video. Maybe we watch that one. What do you
Oh,
think?
okay. All right.
Chokey,
Oh, this is
you
the
having a video
original.
doesn't make this one not exist.
No, it doesn't.
I kind of want to see Chucky's video now.
I'm gonna bring
Like
it
he's
up.
like Fagin from Oliver.
Post it again, Chody.
Yeah, let's laugh at that one.
Pocketer too.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Can
Brendan,
somebody show me where Chody posted that?
Hey, Chucky, just
Chucky.
to clarify, bro. This doesn't mean I'm agreeing with you. It just means that I don't know what it means, but I'm not agreeing with you. Just want to clarify that.
All right. Here's the real one, Chikey.
I kind of feel bad
What
for
is that?
Chikey.
Is
as a
that the
globe
shadow?
earther, 'cause, like, most globe earthers don't tend to agree with him.
You can fast forward, I guess, if you don't want to watch. How long is it?
Here, I'll just get it to where the thing is closer. There we go. Yeah, that looks like stop motion to me. This, I think they were probably using a slower
slow
film
motion,
roll.
but
I mean,
different
less
than your
frames
slow
per
motion.
second,
Frame rate,
and
man.
that might be
Frame
why it looks
rate.
like that.
But you slowed it down and it didn't look like that, did it?
Everything about this screams fake, Mikey. I'm not gonna even sit here and pretend like this is making a difference.
But I mean, here's the thing, right, Brandon? If somebody was to fake this, right, you could have made it so much better. Like, why would you fake it and make it look so shit.
Yeah,
They
the
did a
clouds
shit
aren't
job,
even
man.
moving.
I don't know.
Like, look at that. The Earth's moving, but the clouds themselves aren't moving. There's no wind.
Are you
I mean,
serious?
in my mind, it's totally on point.
The whole lot is moving at once, but the
Yeah,
the
at what
clouds
speed?
are
At what
showing no
speed?
individuality.
At what
Whereas
speed,
on
Dave?
Earth, you see the clouds moving around all over the place.
How fast your clouds are moving?
Oh, sometimes they shoot across the
I'll
sky
just
real
say,
fast.
man,
Yeah.
Really?
At the same time,
when
you know,
there's
they had like
yeah.
Star Wars movies and all that. They could have done a lot better job faking this. If they wanted
This
to
was
really
the
fake it,
60s. This was the 60s. Star Wars
right.
didn't come
Star
out until
Trek. I meant Star Trek.
1979.
They
Star
used
Trek.
the
Yeah.
tech. Yeah,
Star Trek
look at the
Star Trek
movies that
shit.
were around when this was put out, and you'll see they look similar.
Yeah, right. This was Apollo 9.
I don't know,
so.
man. I personally just think that if they were gonna fake it, then then I would have looked at it like,
around
Look
with
how
the
much better
speed.
their fakery is now. Now they've
Brendan,
got
you
better
want to
tech.
speed?
The
Want to
fakery's
speed it
better.
up to see if you can highlight the jitters?
Sure. Here, let's do 2 times. Yeah, I don't know, guys.
Well, I've
Just
done a
2
little
times as fast.
experiment where, like, I'll pull up images that are not real planets, you know, and then ask globe earthers, are these a real planet? And they'll often say yes. So it's like,
Oh, it's super easy to trick someone. Dave always did it with the fucking moon or whatever that planet, or maybe a planet or something. He had one of them was a paper plate or a painted flat thing. Like, super easy to trick someone.
yeah, and they've
Look at this
You
one.
know NASA's lying.
have you ever guys seen Saturn from a telescope, like a cheap telescope? I bought
Yeah,
my
that was the first thing I ever saw. Was
What's that,
Saturn.
stop
Alright, so
motion, Brandon?
I bought my
Brandon,
nephew.
is that stop
I think it
motion
was
right
like
there?
a $50
Come on, Brandon.
telescope, right? And if you look at Saturn from that, you can see Saturn. You can make out the rings, and it looks fake as fuck. Just because of
Yeah, it does.
how you're looking at it. But the weirdest thing is that it's real. That's
No,
what's up.
no,
that
Branch. This ain't
is
real, man.
Saturn, bro.
It's a
This
real.
could be
This is a
high
real
altitude
model
balloon.
right here. You're right. This is really fake.
It could be high altitude balloon footage as well, Brandon. That's what struck me immediately. This is a similar sort of view you get from high altitude balloons up around 60, 70,000 feet.
Yeah.
It's modeled
Towards the front of it when it had been filmed.
altitude footage. See, it's a handcrafted model projected over.
I'm not saying
Whoever's
I haven't,
talking is there's something between you and your mic.
I haven't seen the whole of the image there. That just reminded me of high altitude balloon footage.
No, I was saying it's if you can hear me better, it's high altitude footage.
Yeah,
It's
you're way too close to your mic.
Oh shit! It's projected onto.
And you got an echo.
All right. Well, let me just say this, and then I'll go on mute. It's old high altitude footage with shit projected over it, like Brandon was saying. It's projected. It's modeled projected.
How did the debate, Brian? How did the debate go? I hope your mic was better than this. By the way.
Yeah, they said it was good. So hopefully it
How'd
went
you
all
do
right.
though?
Did you win? Did you
Did
win?
you lay that smack down?
Yeah, I won. I didn't even have to break out all the weapons, man. So there's going to be a part 2 for sure.
Ooh.
I wonder, I mentioned 2001 A Space Odyssey where HAL features prominently. So just that image you have on screen there is very reminiscent of HAL, the lower black sort of dot with the white in the center.
I can see you guys' perspective on this, man, but it just doesn't look fake to me for some reason.
Huh. That's interesting.
Brandon, I put another Level Earth Observer video in the chat. It's the Soyuz undocking from the International Space Station with the space shuttle attached to it.
Oh, I think I watched that one too. Yeah, I'll bring that up. That one looks fake as hell.
There was a video where they were looking up, and it convinced people that they were actually looking down on the Earth. I mean, that shows that they don't even know you know, which way they're looking.
Down.
You can do all kinds of tricks with perspective and depth and all that stuff.
I still can't get over this RC thing. I spent 3 days debating spherical excess with these motherfuckers at Gems. Now you're telling me these kids can't do that in 5 weeks? They can't break this shit down.
The RC. Why you say RC? Are you debating RC?
Anyways, my bad. This video footage is fake as fuck. We know NASA's lying.
Are you, Jeremy, like the high standard for intellect?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that.
We need to compare
this
things.
This is some pretty in-depth stuff we deal with right here, right?
Jeremy's got a very in-depth background and understanding on stuff. Therefore, he can look at these pictures and really understand.
I would ask Jeremy, what happens in the class? I mean, does he just give the earphones and look at the thing, but there's no.
Okay.
Feedback.
Why would Jeremy be
this guy Hori Sheet, who has a channel paying people on Fiverr, like he would give them $5.
Obviously having some technical difficulties here. I'll be right back.
And it's actually amazing to see. Oh, and then he also has them write like a couple paragraphs, you know, of their, sometimes like either record themselves or write a couple paragraphs. And some of these, it was pretty interesting. Like you could see the kid.
Okay, seems to be fixed now. Sorry about that. Had to restart OBS.
Their mind, like actually thinking about something new. And a lot of those kids said that, yeah, that they are very much considering that this could be real. And so that's the case where it's like more of an isolated thing where the kid was able to actually observe it rather than being in this whole kind of reinforced, you know, school environment.
Well, I've seen that, Gio. And I've always thought when I saw that, right, Hori Sheet leads them on. Like if he just let them watch that shit and shut the fuck up while they watched it.
He doesn't talk while they watch it. He doesn't do anything.
Does.
No, he doesn't do anything. I'm talking about when he did the Fiverr thing. He doesn't do anything. They do it all in their own time.
My bad, Brandon. I didn't mean to bring it all the way back to this. This shit just got me all fired up. Go on with the next.
I'll give my own testimony. I busk inside in the town in Limerick here, and I talk to all manner of people. But yes, certain children are open-minded, and it's just about being exposed to it. What happens in the mind of a child? They live their own life. Just the exposure itself is a good thing. I'm not sure R.C. Meisty even works with children. I think it's probably all an act, unless there's some more definitive evidence. But he himself has exposed himself tonight. But the idea out there itself is a good
R.C.
thing.
is not even in the room anymore.
Yeah, let's not go back to this, guys.
Yeah,
well,
so,
okay, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
So, Brandon, what do you find not realistic in this video?
Again, this looks like a model.
Looks
the
like a
ISS
model.
here.
So how come astronomer on Earth got the same picture?
Oh, they may have been filming something from the ground, but this is clearly a model right here.
Not
this right here, what they're showing us on screen for whatever reason. This is not. This is a model. Look at this. This is clearly plastic.
Look at
you can tell. You can tell. Look at this. This is a fucking model.
Picture. Look at the picture I posted. It's about the same thing, in my opinion.
There's something up there that's circling around that flies over us, and we can see it. I'm not going to deny that. It ain't this model.
No. Something up there that look exactly like this when you look from
Well, do you think they're going to fake something that doesn't look like the shape of the thing that flies over that they say is the thing? They're going to give us something completely different shape?
So they put something there, but they can't go there again?
I don't know what the fuck that is. It's probably a weapon system or some kind of fucking spy satellite thing. It ain't this fucking thing where they grow lettuce.
I don't know. Do they grow lettuce there?
Yeah. That's what they do there. You haven't heard? I don't know why the quality got so shitty on this. Look at this though.
Every other year Every other year, they're like, "Yay, we grew lettuce in space." It's like, great, you did that 2 years ago and 2 years before that.
So we know there's something there. We know how it looks from the ground, but yet they can't go there again and film
Who
it.
said they can't go there? I said
So why you
this
say it's fake?
is fake. It's a model on screen
Why?
right now.
How do you know?
Look at it.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, you've seen models before? This looks like a fucking model.
I guess. It looks like a spaceship in space.
I mean, I can't prove it's a model, right? I can't be in the room. I don't have a picture of me next to it. But this looks like a fucking model, dude.
How does the model look like?
Well, see how
Looks
this
like
looks like
this.
plasticky and small. It looks small. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the proportion between the things, or I can't
Then
exactly
I
put
posted
my
a
finger
picture
on
how
it.
it looked from Earth. Compare
What's
proportion.
crazy is you actually know what a model looks like, but you don't know what a spaceship in space looks like. That's crazy.
This does look like zooming into a toy.
In space should look like.
Right?
It looks
Doesn't
like
this look like a toy?
It looks like zooming into a toy. It's funny how they still use the tinfoil and like looking at the the quote unquote lunar lander. It's like air conditioning panels that are all warping and literally gold tinfoil, and it's funny how they use that on a lot of these models.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
with
isn't that a sort of misnomer? Gold tinfoil surely be gold foil, but maybe not. Gold plated tinfoil.
like this. This looks fake too. Here, let me play this because it moves around.
Funny enough, the people who say it looks real also appear to be fake in form of Chikey, Orsi Meisty, and Branch.
Here it is. I don't know, man. That looks like a model to me.
Yeah,
that's because of perspective compression. Have you seen shots?
It's not just because of perspective compression. It's because it looks fucking
Yeah,
fake
in other
as
words,
fuck.
it's from a long way away and zoomed in, and therefore it looks small. Have you seen pictures
No.
of cities and things, cityscapes, from high up in aeroplanes where they've zoomed in, and therefore, and then they look like toys, these cities? And that's the same thing happening here. When you're from a long distance away and you increase the magnification, you get perspective compression, i.e. things further away from one another, just like the pictures of Pontchartrain Bridge.
Could you post,
nearly there, and therefore they get the impression of it looking like a toy. That's what's
No,
causing.
that's not
you to
what
think
I'm
it looks like
seeing.
a toy.
At least he admits it looks
I
fake.
know you don't. I know you don't understand. That's what's causing your problem. But that.
Oh no,
is
no,
what's
I
causing
understand
your problem.
completely what you just said. I know you have to say that this isn't a model, and that you could. There's no possible way you'll admit that it looks like a model.
But it looks exactly like the pictures of thing from the ground.
Does it
You
look
take
like a
some
fucking
pictures
model?
of the space station from the ground, and it looks exactly like that.
Could you post some of those, please, so we can compare them?
Okay, Astronomy Live has done them. He's done live videos.
Could you post them
presentations.
now, please? Could you post
No,
them
I
now?
don't have them to my hand this very second. No.
Well, you brought
Go and look
it
at
up.
Astronomy
You brought it
Live.
up. This was
Go
the
and look at
main point you
Astronomy
brought up.
Live. Go and look at Astronomy Live's videos, and he's got live footage of the ISS, and it looks exactly like that. And I think he even had one with
It doesn't look exactly like this.
one of the things docked onto it. I don't know whether it was some people have got shots with a shuttle attached to it, but when they were doing that, but the Astronomy Live has certainly got one docked Russian. I think he's got a Mir docked with one of them, but it looks exactly like that. So we've got shots on the ground look like that. We know we built it to design it like that, and then we've got some footage here that looks like that. It all
All right, but if you're going to bring that to the table, that's why I was asking. Could you the ones you were saying that were from the ground, the city skylines that you think look like toy models like this? That's why I was asking. Like,
Oh,
if
the
you're gonna
cityscapes.
if you're going to bring something to the table, at least post it so we can compare it and try to see what you're actually trying to say.
Right,
And
you're not
if it
familiar.
actually
You're not familiar with those long-range cityscape shots that make everything look like a toy.
I'm
You're not
just
familiar with
asking for you because you brought it up. So I'm just
those. I
saying.
know,
if you
but I'm
brought it
asking if you're familiar. So you're not familiar with that shot, then?
It depends on what you're talking about. I have seen long distance
Okay.
shots of things. It
I'm
depends
not
on what
familiar with it. I need you to provide a picture.
Okay, all right. I'll see if I
Yep.
can go and get some then.
Brandon, I've got a question for the Rumpus.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Do you think that shot looks better or worse than James Bond Moonraker?
The drone bombs.
It looks more real.
That one looks more real than Bond Moonraker.
Correct.
With Jaws.
Correct. You moron who doesn't even understand perspective or sex.
I was going to say, how can that be ironic? I only asked moronic. I only asked your opinion, but I suppose it is moronic to ask your opinion, Rumpus. So
Yes, I'm going to stupid you up because you're not going to understand my answer. And you don't understand how a sextant works, and you've got completely confused about geographical position, and you back up Nathan, his drivel, and what other drivel
you
he's been
didn't
backing up
understand
lately.
my witty quip that just destroyed you either, did you, Rumpus? Or
You were just being a moron. I understood it completely, and I just thought you're being a moron as usual. Because you're one of the most moronic.
Witty quip, right? That is moronic, is it, Rumpus?
You are moronic, yes.
I'm moronic, or the witty quip was moronic?
Both.
Both are moronic.
Correct.
Could you validate why?
They cancel each other out.
Because you are make moronic
Because I'm
comments
a
because you are a
moron.
moron.
Why is it a ball? Because it's round.
It's not a ball, it's a
I see
sphere.
your logic here, Rumpus. I'm seeing it.
No, you can't because you're a
Seems to be
moron.
A bit of a theme.
You don't even understand how a sextant works.
Don't
For God's sake. I mean, how simple is
Oh,
that?
of course I don't. I don't even know.
No, you don't.
I
you
don't. And you know that how?
Because of what you said.
What did I say?
You have some idea that you have to have a 90-degree angle. You interrupted my answers. You asked me a question, then you interrupt me 2 words into the response. So here you go. You interrupt me 2 words into the response, even though you asked me a question. The reason you don't understand what a sextant is because you
I asked you what I said.
Here we go. So here we go. You're interrupting me again. I know you're very rude. You're an ill-mannered git. And again, you interrupted me. You didn't let me answer. The reason you don't understand you love to overtalk. I know you love to overtalk. I'll try and answer your question. The reason you don't understand the sextant is because you've offered something along with 10th Man. You're just copying 10th Man about needing some sort of flat plane between you. And what's more, you don't understand that this 60 degrees per nautical per degree, 60 nautical miles per degree, can only work on a spherical Earth, and yet you're citing it for a flat Earth, which is highly amusing.
Very flat.
All right, now let me just let's let Adam respond.
Here's the thing,
Hold on a second. Hold on, Branch. You're definitely not in this right now. Hold on, Adam. Just hold on, Adam. Can you hold on for 1 second? I just want to say, I really want to hear this back and forth. If it's all right with Brandon, I'll just temporarily mute Rumpus. If he interrupts. So let's really hear back and forth on this. If you guys,
Adam's the one who interrupts.
I'm just saying, don't interrupt him. And if I just do a little temp muting, it's just only temporary, so we can actually hear both sides. So go ahead. If Brandon's all right with taking
go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Sextant direct. All right, Adam, respond. You're up.
Yeah. So other than allegedly following 10th Man, your point was what, Rumpus?
You obviously didn't understand it. I thought I was reasonably clear.
Clearly,
I'll say
I
it
didn't.
again.
So maybe you'll have to become a better explainer.
And perhaps you need to change your brain. Unfortunately, your brain, I think, is beyond repair. But anyway, we'll try again. I think other people understood what I said. You have got this obsession, along presumably which you picked up from 10th Man. It's just part of your little cult circle of idiocy, that you have to have some sort of 90 degrees between, or a straight line between you and the geographical position of a star. And also, that's not how sextants were originally used. And also, that's right, QE seems to think that you use triangulation. I presume you agree with him, which is absolutely not how you use a sextant. So your basic problem is you seem to think you need a flat Earth to do it, which is completely wrong. And you also don't understand that the 60 nautical miles per degree can only work on a spherical Earth. I mean, every single thing you seem to understand about sextants is completely wrong. It's quite extraordinary how you can. And you don't understand how the horizon's used. You don't understand that the dip angle is used to determine the horizontal. I mean, every aspect of your supposed understanding is incredible. You couldn't be more wrong about everything. I think nearly everything you say about that subject is wrong. Finished.
Somebody needs to count how many you don't understand he said on that sentence.
Well, it's incredible though. I mean, to have someone, an adult, not to understand
carry on.
to the
Let
level
him
he doesn't
answer.
understand is almost
Let
like
him answer.
determination on his part.
Let him answer. That was just so much babble. Let him answer.
Go ahead, Adam.
I'm going to respond anyway.
I'm trying.
I mean,
to
I
find
can
a
explain
point.
how a sextant works if you like. Then perhaps you could criticize.
Trying to find a point. You don't understand Adam about that point.
I mean,
Come on, Adam. Didn't you get that? Did you not get that? He was clear and concise because your brain doesn't work. Because 99% of people, yeah, won't get that rumpus because you were all
Won't get
over the
what?
fucking place.
Won't
You
get
were.
what?
He just doesn't get it. This and he
Well, there's
just
so
doesn't
many
get
things
this
wrong.
and
I
it
was
just
trying
because
to.
this.
I listed three.
You was
I
not
listed
clear and
three-
concise, mate.
I listed three specific problems he had, but there were many others, and I knew
You
I was
were
just
all
gonna
over the place,
because he
Rumpus.
always overtalks me.
Fucking
I was
triangles.
specific
Hold on,
about.
guys.
Gleam, I was specific about three
Hold on
things.
a second,
How can that
Rumpus.
be all over the place if
Hold
I
on
was
a second.
specific about three problems that he had?
Rumpus, are they making triangles? Are they triangulating to the stars?
No,
Any
they're
kind
not
of triangle?
triangulating. They are
There's no
not
triangles
triangulating.
involved.
The fact that you think the triangle's involved again is a serious error in your understanding what the
I was
hell is
just
going on.
asking. I was just asking. So they're not making. There's
Okay.
no triangles involved in any of this sextant shit. Is that what you're saying?
No, there are no. I think I'm trying to think of any involved at any stage. I don't think so. No, not if you
Alright.
regard a triangle as having straight sides. No, there aren't any involved. It's not
Well,
using
you can't-
triangulation. And if you think it is, you either don't understand what triangulation is, or you don't understand how sextants use. One of those two. I don't know which it is. I mean, triangulation is pretty simple, but if you think it applies in this case, you're absolutely wrong.
Well, don't you draw out three circles of equal altitude and where those
That's
three
not how.
intersect?
Sorry,
That's
I
your
didn't interrupt you.
location.
Sorry. The way the sextants originally worked was just to determine latitude, and I don't think these flatties or Adam in particular and the other morons understand that. And they seem to think that they didn't. They think they did it without use of an almanac to tell you where the geographical position of stars were. But so initially, all you use is latitude. So I mean, I could draw a diagram. Let me draw a diagram, and then perhaps.
How can you triangle it without triangles, Rumpus?
Oh. Yeah, let's
No,
get
you
this
can't.
fucking diagram going here. We need another one for
Okay.
end of the
You
year.
need a diagram. Okay, let's get a diagram going and see where you.
We need another good diagram for top 10.
You do. I'm glad, Jeremy. I'm glad you appreciate my diagrams. That's
Well, I mean,
Oh,
Rumpus,
absolutely. Wait till you see the top 10 we do at the end of the year. You're all over them.
Bloody
Yeah, I mean, the three main things you brought up,
There's no
Rumpus, are
triangles
what
in the diagram.
those 3 points are often what the people in this discussion that are sort of against us talking about this, the globe earthers, that's what you guys are trying to say. So, I mean, the 3 that you kind of rattled off are these have been discussed multiple times. So,
well, then and if you don't agree with those points, then you've misunderstood them. So here we go.
Well,
then.
what I would say is that a sextant can work on both models to a degree, to a certain degree.
Absolutely not.
It's not as accurate on a globe. You have to use calculations on a globe. You have to assume a bunch of things on a globe, and it isn't accurate on the large scale. But it can work
on a it doesn't work on a flat Earth at all.
It fully works on a stationary planar Earth to full accuracy and with proper layout of the land.
Not even slightly. Cannot possibly work. I mean, for a start, as I said, and I've said it for the 3rd time, possibly 4th time, the fact that you have 60 nautical miles per degree can only work on a spherical Earth, and so that point alone means that the flat Earth cannot work. Anyway, let's just see what a sextant does. So, for instance, I saw QE. I saw QE, for instance, not understanding how he thought, for instance, in a diagram that I think Larry Scott did, that they were trying to draw a right angle to the point of observation. He completely misunderstood it. I mean, he seemed to be all over the place on this thing. Anyway, let's quickly do this. So here we have a star.
You're actually going to tell us what you think, Rumpus, at
that's
any
what I'm about
point,
to do.
Why,
yeah.
why you think other people are stupid? Because that's all you've done. You're wasting a lot of people's
Well, I've invalidated. Well, I've made 3
I
or 4.
I think we all know how a sextant works. We're still
No, you
waiting
don't.
for the first.
No, you don't.
point.
No, you don't. No, you don't
Tell
understand
us
how it
quick
works.
then. Draw the triangle and get done with it.
No, you
Maybe
don't
I'm
know
going
how
to
it works.
explain.
Right, so here we go. Let's get into this then, shall we?
I thought we were going to have him.
Yeah, you guys don't interrupt Adam. You guys, I'll do temporary muting if people are interrupting. Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, it's Adam. Okay.
Thank you, Rumpus.
I thought I was presenting this how it works.
No, you can't help. You're ejaculating still. Slow down. Get your hand off it. You done? Right. So we're still at the first point, which you said you was going to explain, but you just, I don't know, had a bit of a breakdown, rambled a little bit.
The breakdown.
But you're going to explain why I don't know how a sextant works. We all know how a sextant works. So we don't need anybody's type. Rumpus, calm down.
I'm temporarily muting. Go ahead, Adam.
Right,
Yeah, I want to.
So we all know how a sextant works, so we don't need 10 minutes of you wasting everybody's time explaining, right, and just obfuscating about that. If we can just come to the specifics as to why it doesn't work. I don't know who was talking earlier They made a great point that you just ignored and rolled over in terms of accuracy of the using it on a flat plane or on the ball. But maybe you could come to the point specifically that you attacked me with, which was why I don't understand, without having to just ramble on, like I said, about how a sextant works, which we all understand. Please go ahead, Rumpus. Thanks.
I can tell you.
All right, so here we have. Let me just move that around a bit.
Did you hear what Adam said, or were you too wrapped up in your?
It was the content free. It wasn't worth listening to, but I did hear what he said. Yeah.
Make sure you chart it on a ball too. Don't chart it on a flat plane. Chart it on a ball.
That's what I'm doing. Can you not see the diagram, Brian?
Yeah,
see the line?
Oh, we getting a diagram?
What they do. They
All I
assume,
see is a circle.
They assume
flat
a plane in
Can-
order
well,
to.
if you, well, yes. You zoom in and stop using on. If you just look at it on a phone, you can't see. That's your problem. Get a bigger
We got
screen.
point
You
A.
think
the
that's how we
observer.
see the Earth
Hold
on your
a second.
diagram? I mean, what is that?
What do you mean? This is the Earth.
How we see the Earth on your diagram?
Rumpus,
this is
that,
the
that,
Earth.
that gentleman seems to be
On
higher
mute,
than the
on mute.
ISS.
Yeah, well, I'm drawing it big so you can see. I want you to imagine him having a sextant.
That
That's what I want you
gentleman
to
is
do.
what? It's pointing, facing down.
Yeah, that's a big person on the globe. That's a giant.
Yeah, so I mean, okay.
Put
Do
him
you
on
want
the
me to draw
top
him to
of the
scale?
globe.
Do you want me to draw him to scale?
No, I want
Yeah,
you to
because
put him on
the
There
ISS
we
is
go.
allowed.
There he is to scale. You happy
want you
now?
to answer Adam's
You're now happy.
question.
You're happy now. I've drawn you to scale. Do you prefer
Can you make
that
him a
to be
little
to scale
bigger?
like that? Is that preferable to be to scale like that? Is that how you want it to be, to
What I would
scale,
like
or do you
to
want me to
ask
show
you-
you the diagram?
What I
It's
would
not
like
to
to ask you
scale.
is why is that guy facing down?
Yeah, put him
Right,
on the
and that's
top of the
straight.
ball. We're always on
Right,
the
here
top
we
of the
go.
ball. Put him on
Right,
the
this is
top.
another thing you have to understand.
Rumpus.
That guy is
have
looking
a-
down.
I do have a
Put him on the
question.
top of the ball
Right, do you understand?
and have him looking.
Do you
Why is he
understand
looking
that
down?
he's not looking down?
He's
Oh,
looking
wait,
down.
okay, he's looking to the horizon.
Just
Okay,
one
let's actually make this a bit
line,
clearer for
and
you.
it's a
Let's make this a little
triangle.
bit clearer for you because you're
Why
having
is
a
he
problem.
squatting?
He's looking down.
He's really into
Because he's
taking this
looking through a
picture.
camera.
looking down.
Okay, let's make this absolute. Right, let's make it
It
absolutely
seems like
clear.
you have
for
a problem drawing this with the person looking straight out like we actually would.
I want that. Yeah.
Because the
No,
curve
we know,
would
we know. I
give you a
proved it
problem.
with the
Yeah, we know. I say if
horizon.
you know why you keep being like this, Chike.
Right, so
Look,
I'm drawing here,
I showed
guy.
you.
Put him at 12 o'clock. Rumpus.
So why
Put
don't
him
you
at
let
12
Rumpus do
o'clock.
the diagram? Or you draw a diagram.
Here we go. I'm
Just put him at
trying to do
12
a
o'clock,
presentation here,
Rumpus,
guys.
on the diagram.
Like,
All right,
And
let
then
me
it's-
let it go, I
clearer,
guess.
isn't it?
I'm trying to present this to you so you
Put
understand
him,
what's
put
going
him
on.
at 12
Right,
o'clock.
so
not
here-
2:30.
Right, so remember the
on,
thing
pull
to
in.
understand, the
12.
thing you need to
Guys,
understand
there's
trying to
too many
is
people
that
talking.
down.
Oh, it's shocking,
Yeah,
isn't it?
can I'm in the middle of trying to present this. So
No, you're
remember
not. You're
down.
in the middle of trying to con people.
Can you stop
Put him at
interrupting
12
me?
o'clock.
Can you someone mute
Put him
Adam
at
because he's
12.
constantly interrupting me? Can someone mute
Well,
him? please?
actually, Rumpus, I'm going to temporarily mute you because actually Adam was trying to talk before and was being overtalked. So just no, I'm not saying you overtalked him. Just go ahead, Adam.
It's just a simple point. It's a little off-putting. Like I'm falling over trying to look at Rumpus's diagram, and I think the point's been made that this guy's falling or looking forward. So I think for clarity, it'd be helpful if Rumpus could put the guy at the top of the ball, and then we can all comprehend the angles a little bit clearer. It'd help everybody. I don't think that's a big request to ask. I don't think it will change anything.
I agree, because it's making me nervous.
What he's describing.
Like he's gonna fall down off the
Technically, he
earth.
is
I'm
on
worried for
top
him.
of the ball.
Seriously, he's gonna fall off.
Health
Right,
and
put
safety
him at the
reasons,
top.
you need to put him on the top, Rumpus. He's, you
Right. No, for
I
exactly
still don't even see a ball, guys. Sorry.
Well,
I just
actually,
see
yeah,
a
Rumpus,
circle.
let's do that because we're going to see the
Jesus
horizontal
Christ.
plane. We're going to see the horizontal plane that you assume to do this. So, yeah, could you put it at the top so we can see that it's a horizontal
No,
plane?
I couldn't because I'm making the point that down is towards the center of the earth. And this is what flatties don't understand. They think you're on the top of this thing. No, you could be, I could make it. It would be exactly as valid if I did this.
Yeah.
This is what you
Could you
need
put
to
it at the top,
understand
though,
about the globe
Rumpus?
model.
Come on,
you
Rumpus,
don't
it's not
understand the
difficult
globe. So
ask.
here we go. This is
can't,
what.
can
Let me make
you?
it,
Put it
let's make it
fucking straight
absolutely
on.
clear.
We can't
Here we
do it.
go.
Right
We're
on
going to
the
make it. I'll
bottom,
tell you what. I'm going to make it
Rumpus.
absolutely clear now.
There
What's
you
going
go.
on?
No,
There
Rumpus,
we
can
go.
we do it?
Whoa.
That's the
And
top.
here's
one.
the
Red
thing,
Bull.
handle
So I'm now
Oh,
going to
Red
make it
Bull. Still the
absolutely
top.
clear to you
There you
what's
go.
going on here.
Do you play Candy Crush?
That's what it's like to be Australian.
Now,
like
Rumpus, now get a little guy to dig from the top of that to where the little guy's standing and
let's
see
make
where
this
he's.
absolutely
Show me where
clear.
you
Here we
put it.
go.
on a
Right.
second.
Rumpus, can
guys
you
are
just do
missing
it
the
for
point
us? Can
here.
you just do it for us?
because you then don't understand
Put
what's
it at the
going on.
top.
No,
Well,
that's because you don't understand the globe model. That's why you're asking me to do that. You don't
Because
understand
it is
the
like you are not
fundamental
making
parts.
it clear.
Be quiet,
Why
Glean.
can't
You're
you
interrupting. Someone mute Glean.
put the guy in the
Can
center
you
of your
please?
circle?
Can we
it's
mute
because
James and
well,
Glean
hold
so
on.
that I can actually
Guys,
give a presentation?
guys. Let's
Rumpus.
just
let him get it
How do you
out.
keep it to a couple
incorporate-
people.
Let him get it
all
out.
right?
How do you incorporate the electric universe into
Right,
this?
so,
though?
well, yes, bring the extra news. Nothing else interrupting
No,
me.
don't change the subject.
Someone, can
Just
someone mute
let's
Mr.
stop.
Grim V?
I
'Cause
got
he
it. Hold
He
on.
wants to talk about
Thank you,
EU,
Jeremy.
EU rather than actually this
Let's
thing.
just let finish. Let's just let Rumpus finish.
Right,
please,
so here
guys.
we go. So they're making the point here, extra making the point. I normally put an angle on the 45 degree, but I thought because there were complaints about it, I'd make the absolute point what's going on. That the things like QE doesn't understand this diagram, Bev doesn't understand this diagram, and he doesn't even understand that this is what we understand. So if you go to any glober and you say, what's down? They will say it points to the center of the earth. And until you understand that, you don't even understand the argument you're having. So here we go. So we have a person.
All right, Rumpus, hold on. Before you go, I'm going to mute you for a second. And I would just say that I would say every single person in this room knows that. What we also know is that horizontal is a real thing. That's why just making it in this space where the horizontal is upside down, but it's fine. But how about, I'm just saying, everybody knows that. So for you to say people don't know that, I would say is just profoundly false. Everyone knows that down on a globe is to the center in that model.
For globers, yeah.
For globers, yeah. I just want to respond to that. Yeah, go ahead.
The bigger mission here is the non-compliance with a lot of people's requests. They just put him on the top of the ball.
Well, he is on the top of the ball. He's not really guys.
Right,
someone just claimed.
I don't see how this is addressing my question.
I have not been given a chance because I've been interrupted.
Well, I know,
I've
but-
barely been able to speak and I've been
Hold on a
muted
second.
3 times.
It's true. As much
And
as
I've
I
been
can't
more
stand
interrupted than
Rumpus, we have
anybody
not
else,
let
and yet
him.
I'm the one who's been muted.
Yeah.
I find that
Shut
incredible.
the fuck up.
Right.
Rumpus, I told you I was Joe's. I'm only going to do.
Well, yeah.
temporary
Why are
mutes
you
just
just
so we can
muting
actually-
me? So
Because I
yeah,
wanted
you made
to
a stupid
right now, I
point
think.
because I had an argument with Bev in which for about 20 minutes I asked him if he understood that globers thought down was to the center of the earth, and he said no, and he was adamant
what?
that let me bloody finish. And I went on him saying 20 minutes, and he said that I was speaking just for myself and not for globers. And QE also made the same comment that he didn't understand that down was towards the center of the earth. So when you say that all flatties understand that's what we believe, that's not the case. And that's why I'm emphasizing it. So to claim that they believe that they don't understand, they don't believe that. I'm sorry, they do believe that is wrong. Anyway, let me get on with this goddamn thing.
Rumpus, don't you think
So
it's
I muted
important?
him. He's already
Christ.
muted.
Great. So let's see if we can get through this quickly. Right. So here we have. Here, let me just put an arrow on that to make absolutely sure. And then we'll get to the points that are in dispute when I've got the basics sorted out. So that is down. Down. Right. And that means, of course, that this is up. Coming this way. Let's just reverse that. And that is up for this guy.
I'm getting OCD
Right, so
with
here-
this guy on the bottom, though.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit difficult. I've been forced to do this. I normally draw on the 45 degrees to make the point, but because it was so opposed, I think people don't seem to understand this.
On with it.
Anyway, so
Come
I'm making
on.
the point. I'll tell you what. Okay, I'll move it around a bit more to make it a bit more. Okay, I'll move it around a bit more to make it a little bit more comfortable.
You made it worse just to mess with us. That's
Yes,
not cool.
correct. That is correct. Not to mess with you. It's completely valid. But what I'll do is I'll put it up here.
I actually liked when you made the guy the real size, because now all of a sudden you don't have a plane from way above where the ISS would be, a planar thing from that guy's head going down on a ball. You don't have that. If you put him down on the ground, that line is totally going the first line you drew. So actually, I want the guy to be to the right size.
But you
He
see,
should
if I
be
do
that big.
Let him
But if
hurry
I
up and
did
finish.
But if I did that, then this angle would be so small that you couldn't draw it to scale. The point is I'm emphasizing how the sphere, the curve, if I were to draw the curve, remember the Earth is very flat. So if I draw it where there's only, for instance, 8 inches drop per mile, and I drew it to scale with a man, the drop
can
is
we
very
get
small. So I have
on
to
with
do.
this shit, please, Rumpus.
Yeah, because I'm being interrupted.
Guys,
the
I
Earth
know,
is
Right,
right.
there's your
So
star. Go.
this is something. So here's something else that Flat is
No,
done.
forget that star.
Bev.
Just for the
Oh,
record, I just want to say that Rumpus just said once again that same soundboard that Brandon plays. He just said the Earth is very
The
flat.
Earth is
He just said
very
the
flat.
I love that. I love when
It
Rumpus
is.
says that.
It is very flat.
Very
Just
flat.
get Rumpus to finish with his ADHD
Yeah.
bullshit. Come on now, guys.
I wish
Right.
we could. I know, Bio. Thank you.
All right,
Right.
Rumpus, come on. All right, go for it.
Thanks. Right, so there we have the horizon for this chappie, and here we have. Let's make it for him. Let's put it. And I could remember that this horizontal is parallel to the horizontal. But if I drew him to scale, he would obviously be, up here. There he is. But I've not drawn. So let's put him up in the air. Where let's pretend he's on a deck of a ship or something. Let's make him a bit bigger than that. But he's floating in the air. He's not floating. He's on a deck. That is the horizontal for the ground for the surface of the Earth. Remember, that's a tangent, and that's 90 degrees to the surface of the Earth. That's what a tangent is. These things are both horizontal because they're parallel to one another. And so this is the one that's coming. He's looking at. And to do any sextant work, you need the horizontal.
Yeah.
So, and this angle here is the dip angle to the horizon. This is the dip angle there. If you can see that, let me just let's zoom into this a bit more. Right, so there is the dip
You need
angle.
the horizontal. Is that what you said? I'm sorry.
You need the horizontal. That's correct. And but the only thing you've got with a sextant, hold on, the only thing you've got with a sextant, unless you've got one with a sort of bubble in it, or you're using water, is the horizon. And the problem is that the horizon is not horizontal to you. There's a dip angle. So what you need to do is from the almanac tables, you measure so that the guy I've got the star. So the angle that the guy actually measures is from the star. So he measures this angle here. This is what his sextant actually does, is to measure this angle here. That's all he can measure, because he measures the difference between the horizon and the star.
Correct.
So that's all he does. So that's the only thing he's got. But what he wants, if you want to do anything with tables, and if you want the actual angle to do useful things with, you need the angle, this angle here, which is the angle of the star above the horizontal. So you've got to subtract. So this is the angle he wants. This is the angle you want there. I want this angle here, which is called the altitude. And that is the angle above the horizontal. And that's what it's defined as. Angle above the horizontal. That's called altitude. So that's what I'm going to call. We call that A. So let's make that a different color. We're not self. He sees
What's the
angle
angle
B.
that he sees?
Holy shit. What are we talking about?
You got the
Hold on.
horizon. Angle
Real
B.
quick.
Okay, I'm sorry.
These are all straight lines that he's making when he looks out and up and everything. It's at all these
this
funny
line to
angles.
the horizon, of course, is refracted. So we're not going to deal with refraction just for the moment, okay?
Which line isn't refracted?
Which line? Well, the line to the star, because it's up high up in the sky, the refraction is almost negligible. So we could make a case for saying that the angle to the line to the star, this is almost a straight line. So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to.
So you don't need straight lines for none of this stuff. Forget the. We don't need straight lines to do this.
Well, no, you make them. You account for the bendiness by using a correction. You account for the dip, because when you work out this dip angle, remember this angle here. This angle here is the dip angle. I'm going to put that in there. That's the angle here.
Let's just get this over with as quick as possible. I immediately regret interrupting. Go.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So here we are. This angle here is the one. We'll call that D. D for dip. So let me just move that out of the way. This angle D, we'll call that D. So we've got I'm calling it D because it begins with dip, so it's a bit easier to remember. So there we've got three angles. So we've got three angles. We'll have G. We'll have G for you later, perhaps. So here we've got three angles to deal with. He measures angle B with the sextant. He measures the difference between the horizon and the star. That gives you angle B. But what he wants is angle A, which is what's called the altitude. The tracks angle to height
It appears that I'm having technical issues. Hold on.
And
How
can I
you
ju-
get the
what
table?
Yeah,
B
it's all
will
been
be.
calculated, but
Yeah.
can I will quote you in 2019, I think it
fine,
was.
fine.
What we actually do is take the angle and then we manipulate it.
What? What are you?
Exactly.
Rumpus, 2019.
Exactly.
What
In
angle?
all
It's
these
a
measurements.
made-up angle. It's a made-up
Was I
angle.
talking
as
about
well. It's a
sextants?
fabricated one.
It wasn't sextants,
Well,
no.
what are you
but it
talking
was,
about? It's not relevant, is
Listen,
it? Who
it
knows
is.
what the subject was?
No,
twat?
that's what you've done. That's
Just
what.
the ground, so he knows, for instance, he's on a ship, but he's, I don't know, 40, 50 feet above the surface of the sea, and he looks up in the almanac what angle D is, and that also accounts for standard refraction. So he then knows what to subtract from B to get to A. He then ends up with A.
Sound check, sound check.
He then says, right, that's my altitude. And from that,
Mother.
you can then use that angle to determine, you then know the angle of the star or the sun. I mean, that would give you a latitude. Remember, if that was the sun,
Can you
this
guys hear
angle
it right now?
A would equal your latitude. And that's what sextants usually meant to be used for.
Oh my gosh, what is going on?
I mean, out your latitude, and then you had to use another mechanism. The stuff you were talking about,
All right,
altitude
guys,
equal.
I don't know what's going on, but
So
I
it's an
am
extra factor you
continually
need
losing
to
the
consider that when you're using this
thing.
3-star
So
thing that
I'll
other
mess
people
with
are
it
going
for
on
a minute.
about, you need to know the time, because once you know the time, you then know what the geographical position of the star is. So, for instance, in your almanac, and you know the time, which didn't come until the middle of the 18th century when they had a chronometer, and Harrison created this. You then know at a particular time where the star's going to be. Then you can start talking about these angles of equal altitude. So, for instance, then you can then say, right, if I know the time, I then know, measuring this angle, what this, I could be anywhere. And obviously, if you knew the time exactly, and you were looking at the sun, you could work out your longitude, and then you'd already have used the calculation we've got here to determine your latitude. You would know exactly where you were. But if you're just looking at the stars, you haven't got the sun, you then say, right, what is and you look in your almanac, so you've got your time, it tells you where this star will be for that particular time.
I got
and
one
then there's
real
another
important question, Rumpus. Real important question. Why you always use the diarrhea poop colored Earth?
All right, Rumpus, I feel like you've explained everything that I would need to respond. So, I'm not saying I have to.
I haven't done the 3-star thing.
I think
I
you've
haven't done
completed.
I haven't done the
because we
angles
need
of
to
equal
talk about this
altitude.
dip horizon deal. So, we need to let people respond. You do tend to talk over everybody. So, since we just gave you a good solid time, is all right. I'm just going to temporarily mute you so at least someone can respond so far.
I'm prepared to.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can do round 2 if we got another one. But yeah, let's let some people go. All right, go ahead, guys.
I'd like to say something if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead, James.
Yeah, it's probably stupid even to flat earthers, but if Rumpus was to take his whole diagram there and move the guy with everything else into the center of that circle, does that still work on his diagram?
Yeah, but hold on. Let's remember the dip angle.
Where's he getting his?
The dip angle at 100,000 feet is like 4 degrees. What kind of fucking dip angle does he think he's going to get? He's talking about people on.
Hold on, Brian. I guess my question is, why are all these Muppet visions on top of the circle? If the circle's representing a sphere, you should be able to put this diagram in the center, the guy, his character, the guy, right in the center of that circle. Where's he getting these lines?
It's for simplicity's sake, James.
Yeah.
Because if you put the guy at the center, what you're calling the center, that's going to be the closest point on a spherical Earth. What you're going to see is that those lines that are supposed to be representing the vertical from that local location are going to be points. But doing it this way from sideways, you can see all of the angles and all of the lines associated with it. It's for simplicity's sake.
So why not? Why are they always done in Muppet vision? Why not just somebody go out with their telescope and do the real
Because
thing.
that's how you illustrate. This is the way you illustrate it to make sense of it.
That's what I'm
Exactly.
trying to say.
That's the way you illustrate it so that you can fool people.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. Go
so-
ahead.
God damn.
Well, my response to it is this, Rumpus. Okay, so we have two planes there. We have two planes, parallel planes. It looks like they're purple now or pink, the ones that you have horizontal. Okay, so we have one at the guy's feet, which is a horizontal plane, and then we have his eyesight, which is a horizontal plane. And then there's this the dip angle. Well, on a planar Earth, the first one, the horizontal lines, is all you would have. So you just have the flat Earth under you. You have at your head that horizontal. So that this altitude, the A, that's what you get doing this on a planar Earth. A, you just get it every time. It's that easy, and it's what actually Adam was referring, in terms of the 90-degree angle to the star. That's what you get. So if you just were to draw so this A is what you get on a planar Earth. That's what you get, and the horizon is horizontal. So instead of this dip thing on a ball that I think is just made up, you actually just have the actual horizon, which is horizontal. So if the dude was actually tiny on a flat plane, like when you look out, that is horizontal, which is why it's called a horizon. It's just horizon, TAL, horizontal. So all we're doing on a planar Earth is just the horizon is the horizontal. The A is the angle you get. The 90-degree angle is what you get. And we can make a whole planar surface on that, which is the whole center of equal altitude, how that actually stretches over the plane. So this whole dip thing that you created, which you said uses an almanac, which has a refraction calculation, hint, hint, we've got an R radius, we have a radius in there. So all you're doing is just literally completely assuming a globe Earth, completely assuming that dip angle, using these kind of twisted calculations with refraction to add in a radius, and just making that part up. So the part you're deleting, we don't even need in the first place.
I would like to see you navigate, Gio.
Explain this math issue to me. It works on your flat Earth without any changes, yet you make changes and it still works. How is that possible?
I unmuted Rumpus, by the way. So yeah, Rumpus, if you want to either respond or anyone else wants to jump in, but
no,
I said my piece. Yeah, because that's
for you.
Yeah, you're wrong, completely wrong. Even on a flat Earth, as I've drawn here, even on a flat Earth, once you've got height,
Point out down. Somebody explain that to me.
Be quiet.
Holy shit!
Interrupting me. I've just told I could answer.
Doing all this drawings.
Be quiet, twat. I was told I could answer, and then you
why are you guys allowed
Can someone mute this guy? Can someone mute this moron?
Why?
Hold on. Jesus Christ! I was answering the guy's question. Right. So even on a flat Earth, when you've got a height, the horizon is going to have an angle, unless it's an infinite. Well, I suppose. Oh God, I suppose on a flat Earth.
No, I'm saying the horizon is horizontal.
Actually, you that would be correct. Actually, if the flat Earth was infinitely wide or 10,000 miles wide, it would actually be horizontal. Yes. Yeah, if you've got infinitely wide, if you've got a finite flat Earth, then it wouldn't be. But okay, if you've got an infinite one or a very big one, then it would effectively be horizontal. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I was just trying to consider if you go up high, then this angle here would be something. But yes, on a big flat Earth, this would actually be horizontal. Correct. But of course, it doesn't agree. There's things like the 60 nautical miles per degree doesn't work on a flat Earth, so we can dismiss that immediately. And the people have used this section to get around, and we know therefore that the flat Earth can't work.
Straw man, and then he take it down.
All right, let's let Silent respond now, Rumpus.
No. I'm all right though.
Well, if he wants to make a point, I'm happy for him to make a point.
I want to make a
providing
point.
it's not in the middle of my
I'll
sentence.
make a point.
So if you want to make a point, Silent, if you want to make a point, do it now. Now it's
I
your
wanted
turn,
to ask you
instead of being in the middle of my sentence. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, why do you have that guy pointing down?
Well, he's not pointing down. He's pointing along the horizontal. His feet here are on the horizontal. And I did draw this specifically to show that down is towards. He's not looking down. He's not looking along the horizontal. His camera. Here's his camera. See his camera here. Let's put it to the front. His feet are aligned horizontally. His camera's aligned horizontally, and that's because down is towards the center there. So whoever claimed just now that didn't that these flatties do understand on the globe model stands. Here's another example here. He doesn't understand that down is towards the center of the Earth on the globe model, and he is horizontal. He is aligned with his feet on the tangent there, and this line is another tangent where he's got his camera. Both of these are horizontal, and he's not pointing down. He's pointing horizontally. Go ahead.
There's a simpler way to say it, Rumpus. So silent. The top pink line there, that's going to be his eye level. If you set up a plumb and you set up a perpendicular, that pink line is going to be the eye level. That dip line right there, where the B,
down
where the, I
see
know,
the horizon.
I'm about to.
I know. You know.
So the dip,
yes.
So the dip angle there, where B is connected to the bottom, when in your colloquial terms looking down, he's looking towards.
I never look down to look at the horizon.
So his eyes are looking in a downward direction from that horizontal to look at the horizon, because the horizon won't be lined up with your eye level. That's why.
I still don't think Rumpus answered Adam's original question.
Well, Brandon actually went over all of that. Like, what was it, on Thursday or what last week when he went through his perspective on that dip. But
Is
Adam gonna answer? I want to hear Adam. I don't know if he's still here.
Why the Rumpus thinks Adam doesn't understand how a sextant works.
Well, I'm
still waiting.
You don't understand. You don't understand the dip
Rumpus
angle.
admirably. Oh, Rumpus, shut up. Rumpus has admirably described it. Both, well, one model very well. I don't disagree with how he's described it in terms of how you can reify it back onto a ball when you take these planar measurements. I've got no issue with that. But after what is it, an hour and a half? I'm still waiting.
Right.
For
Okay.
a reason.
Okay, what you don't...
why your model is more valid
because it works.
Because it works. Brilliant, Rumpus.
And yours doesn't, because you do not have cannot have
all you do is put in on
60
people
degrees. You cannot have 1 degree per 69
that's all you've done
per 69 miles. You can't do that on a flat Earth.
We can come to that later, can't we? 69 miles and how
But that's
you
one of the points why you're wrong.
And how and why you reify that. I did have a question in this diagram. The horizon, I assume, is defined by a geometric ball edge.
Well, in this diagram with refraction, of course, it's not geometric, it's the apparent one. But that's what the corrections in the almanac, this dip angle I was talking about, when you go and look up the tables, go into your almanac to look up the tables, they allow for standard refraction. So they allow for the curvature.
Now, hold up. They allow for standard refraction. Yes. Standard refraction, when you're talking about movement of the horizon, isn't standard, is it?
Yes. Well,
terrestrial, isn't it? But two very different things that you're trying that you're about to lie about, Rumpus. So, you know.
What are you little wanker? What are you talking about?
Consider your response. You're lying wanker.
You are lying wanker. You don't understand what I'm saying. You lie about it afterwards. So I think we can ignore this guy. He's just being an obnoxious wanker.
Everybody just let you go for like an hour.
We can just ignore the wanker, can't we?
He's bait and switches.
So that's why he doesn't get answers.
He's just lost his bait and switch.
Yeah, you're a moron. So yeah,
hold on, Rumpus. Let's let Adam speak, dude, because I mean you did get a good amount of time and you have been like kind of jumping in. Let's let him speak. I'm just going to temporarily mute you so he can speak.
I think we got to the crux of it there. I was going to ask a lot more questions with regards to what he did cite in terms of, he kept saying it very eloquently, standard refraction. But what we got to there was a movement or an obfuscation of when I asked what is the horizon then in his model, and it is a geometric ball edge. He then obfuscated it to be in its apparent position, and then conflated both standard refraction, which we do take into account with regards to the stars, left, right, up, down, as a refraction being of the standard nature, that light will refract in the atmosphere, but not the refraction that he's just applied to his horizon to bring his horizon up to a much flatter plane, which is his 7/6 terrestrial refraction, which are two very different things, but he's trying to conflate the two here. But
in what way? In what way?
Exactly, Adam. That was very well said. No, that's spot on. Absolutely, everything you said there is completely correct. It's that radius reflection. But I think BioDuel was trying to get it. BioDuel, your mic's a little low, but yeah, go ahead.
What specific point or what contradiction or what obfuscation is Rumpus doing? Because he said the entire time that when you're getting the dip angle, you are accounting for standard refraction. for the right. He's never said you're doing a dip angle to the geometric horizon. He's never said that. So what words are you putting into his mouth?
That's a secondary point which he does brush over. He does describe the dip angle. The tables are based on
tangent. Sorry.
The tables are based on the observer height. That's the important thing.
Okay, and
at no point. Well, at that point, you've got 2 points of admission, haven't you? Either they're based on that observer height and that's it, or they're based on a moving horizon in your model. Now, if the horizon's moving, it's not geometric, but it is geometric. And or is it subject to 7/6R, which the tables don't account for, just standard refraction? So it has to be rigid within the tables, not 7/6R, just standard, doesn't it? So the only refraction it's accounting for is that. Therefore, it's wholly geometric. Its position.
All right, I'm going to shut the show down for the night. I'm sure these two are going to come to an agreement, and I apologize that you are not going to get to hear it, but you are more than welcome to join the Discord. There's a link in the information, or is that what it's called? Description of the videos. Come on in. You can listen. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. And you can play with the chat trolls if you're masochistic. So come on in. Shout out to the mods. Made a couple new mods tonight. PJ and Bill. Gave them a wrench, so we have a few more around just in case any stuff goes on. In the chat, thanks for taking care of business, mods. Hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Congratulations again to Bill G. And keep those babies healthy. That's really awesome, man. Talk to you guys later. Bye.